Over what period of time for what?
For the increase in traffic accidents and deaths.
Yeah, that I don't know. Let's see, is control room working? Let me see if I'm getting a feed here on YouTube. Of course, YouTube closed the damn control room, so I have no idea. Hopefully people are seeing us right now. Let me go into my dashboard. Let's see, where do you go? It's like dashboard, content, live. You'd think they'd make this easier. It says evolution of the internet. Just say, I think it says it's on. Let's see, is it working? Analytics. There we go. View live control room. Let's see if we're working here. It's loading.
So it's more of a correlation sort of thing, not a causal link.
Got it.
Causal links are very inconclusive because it's difficult. Well, I'm getting ahead of ourselves, but it's difficult to measure how impaired someone is.
Yeah.
Alcohol tends to have a very, like, it's pretty even across everybody. How fucked up you get by how much you're drinking is different with marijuana.
That's fair. And demonetized. No, I'm just kidding. All right, come on, camera, stay. It sags a little. She's getting old. She's getting old. Likes to sag a little bit up there. All right, welcome everybody to the late tech talk. All my bad. You like usual. Let me see. Turn this light down. Yeah, there we go. That's a little less harsh. Oh man, what a morning. Let's see, everybody's rolling in. They're probably like, why are you 20 minutes late? Oh my god. So guys, fucking every once in a while, and by every once in a while I mean every other stream, you run into some technical difficulties, and this time there were some humdingers. Like, I could not log into my YouTube. I thought my YouTube was hacked. Like, I would not let me log into my YouTube today. So I spent like the last probably 15 minutes working on YouTube, then another 10 minutes working on the audio. And so when I went to YouTube, it would let me log in, and I could go to my dashboard. I could do everything. I could edit videos. I could do everything that you could do that you need, like, to be logged in for. However, I couldn't live stream. When you clicked live, it's like, oh, we need to verify your account. And then it would open up to verify my account, and I'd put in my password and go, oh, that's not the right password, even though it just accepted my password to log in, and it allowed me into the dashboard and allowed me to edit videos and stuff. So I'm like, what the hell's going on? So then I finally had to click on it and say, okay, reset my password, then I'll go do it. And it's like, oh, well, it's going to take 6 hours for us to send you a password reset for some reason, probably to avoid bots trying to mass reset passwords with emails being stolen. Anyways, I go in, it doesn't let me do it. It's like, that's not your password. And then I'm like, reset password. It's like, oh, you got to wait 6 hours. I'm like, I got to stream now. So I cancel the password reset request, which requires me to log in. So keep in mind, I log in and then I cancel the password reset request. So I am logged in, and then I go to stream and it's like, oops, nope. We got to verify that you can do that. I'm like, oh, god damn. So then I go in and I click a menu that says, okay, I want to authenticate another way. And it's like, okay, well, go into your Authenticator app. Authenticator app doesn't show shit. And then it's like, okay, so then I go into the Gmail app. Gmail app goes, oh, hey, we detected you tried to log in from somewhere. Is this you? Yes, it is me. Pops up on the page, just refreshes and says, we need to verify some of your details before you could log in. So then I had to click a button that says, authorize me another way. Then I had to go down and say, authorize me another way. And then it took me into a deep menu where it's like, send me an SMS message. And then I entered the SMS message, and then it's like, oh, check your Gmail app to see if you received a verification step. And it pops up in Gmail and it goes, oh, we detected you tried to log in again. I click yes, and then finally it lets me in. And it lets me go into the broadcast room so that I can actually start a stream. I was like, holy crap. And that was just to go into the broadcast room to see the stream. I could still technically create the stream. I just couldn't monitor it. And so anyways, and then once we did that, we had an audio problem we were chasing, which I still don't have the solution for. We're just kind of hacking around it, where Video Ninja is looping back and monitoring audio in browser, which is really weird. It's never done that before, where you're talking and you're hearing a delayed like playback of the microphone into your ear. And so I had to mute myself in Video Ninja and then pull the microphone directly into OBS Studio. So, oh man, what a nightmare, man. That's not how you ever want to start a live stream. But thank you guys for joining us. Now I can actually tweet out the stream, since we are actually going. We are verified. Is everything working? Nobody in chat saying that we're like echoing and stuff? Let's see.
Yeah, we're good.
All right, we're good. Sweet. Wiedersehen. Aus Wiedersehen.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Means that's like goodbye. Don't tell people that.
Oh, I mean, wait, what's hello?
I don't know.
In German, I don't know. Like welcome.
I
should know this. My last name.
Oh,
is
like it's like there's like good day, guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
Right?
There it is.
Guten Tag.
Guten Tag.
I feel like that's super formal though. I'm not sure. Like, you know, that'd be like in English saying like, well, hello there. General Kenobi. Where like I'm sure that there's a more slang way of saying like what's up or hello or hi, it just seems even in Spanish, like I'm trying to pick up a little Spanish because we vacation in Mexico sometimes.
Yep.
And that's it feels too formal. It feels to say like buenos dias and stuff. It seems too formal. Like I don't think that you're doing that to your buddies while you're walking down the street. Like if you see like your homie in the grocery store, you're not saying hey buenos dias. Like there's got to be like some slang way of,
brother, what's up?
There's got to be some more casual like greeting in the same way of like English of like, hey, what's up, man?
Well, we definitely have some Mexicans in chat, terms. So let's look at them to help us out. Mexicans in chat, could you tell us the proper and non-touristy way to say hello like in what's
German
up?
Is just hello. That makes sense. A lot of English comes from German.
Wait, hello in German is literally hello?
It's probably more like hello. You probably don't stress the H as much, but yeah.
I want to go to Germany someday, but not for the reasons people think. I want to go there and drive around the Nürburgring.
If Tech Talk doesn't take half hour to deal with technical difficulties, and it's not Tech Talk. And then someone's like, that's why you don't work tech support for a living. You don't know. You don't know what Luminate does for a living. Maybe that's why he does work in tech support.
See, yeah, this is the funny.
I'm spicy.
Hey, Luminate, don't make me come over there and punch you in your little dick, okay? And I got a little dick too, so I understand. Okay, I get mistaken by a clitoris every once in a while.
Yeah, que paso, that sounds familiar. That's probably like what's up.
Que paso. Yeah, I've heard that before, like from Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke.
Yeah, that's like what's up. Yeah, what happened is I guess what Google is saying is the literal translation, but that's like what's up. Yeah, okay, que paso. Sure.
I embarrassed myself when I went to Mexico because I wanted to find a Red Bull because I was like super fucking drunk and I wanted to sober up. And so I went to find
you wanted to be more energized as you were drunk. It wasn't going to sober anything.
No. Well, you don't get sober, but it definitely wakes you up so you're not passing out in the pool. And so, that's what I just didn't want to drown. Like basically, I was to the point where I was so relaxed. I was like, I'm going to go to sleep and wake up on the bottom of the pool, right?
Oh yeah.
So I want to get a Red Bull. So I go up there and I'm like, Rojo Toro, because I thought that's how you ask for Red Bull in Spanish.
Literally asking for a crimson bull.
Pretty much. And the guy looks at me like, what the fuck's wrong with you? And then finally I just said, you got a Red Bull? And he's like, yes, here you go.
Sir, this is a Wendy's. Why are you asking me for a red cow?
Because I thought Rojo meant red.
No, it's no. Well, yeah. I mean, you were literally asking for a
Red Bull, but I thought that I had to convert the words. Like, I didn't know they just called it Red Bull too.
Because that happens a lot in Japanese.
Yeah.
In fact, it's like almost like it's gotten to a point where it's like a separate part of the language. I can't remember the term they have for it, but like they've just integrated some English words into Japanese, like biru. I think biru is for like a beer, or baseball, basebaru. It's like they've kind of warped certain English words into their like language and pronunciation. I feel like it's the same. You just insert. It's gotten to a point. You can just insert some of the more crazier English words into the other language.
Okay. Wait, Toro Rojo is Red Bull.
Well, yeah, it's literally Red Bull, right? But like, it's not. You wouldn't. It seems silly to say that if you were looking for the product Red Bull. You would just say like, "Hey, where's the Red Bull?" Que paso?
Yeah, because where I was at, people didn't speak English very well. Like the resort that I was at, surprisingly, like they knew the basics. Like if you wanted a beer, they could figure that out. So I was trying to learn a little Spanish. I was like, when I asked for a beer, I asked for cerveza, right? And I learned like the little lexicon watching other people do it. I'd watch somebody go up and order a Jaeger bomb or whatever, and I'd be like, okay, well, that's how you do it.
I love these people, or one person at least in here is trying to get us to say something really fucked up in Spanish. Well, not really fucked up, but is it just like, oh, he's like, yeah, say this means what's up, and it's like, no, it's like suck my dick. And we're demonetized, but still,
we were demonetized a long time ago.
Yeah. See, like
clitoris and stuff, so we might as well just full send.
Donde están tus Red Bull? You would just say Red Bull. Yeah.
Yeah. When I said Red Bull, they knew exactly what I was talking about. That's what was funny is I went out of my way to try to say it like the right way. Like, bring me a Red Bull. Like, I'm surprised the guy didn't just go back and bring me like a medium rare steak or something.
Right,
like,
right. Yeah.
Red Bull. It's like, okay, all right. Well, we're getting somewhere here. Or like coffee. I didn't know how to ask for coffee, so I just picked up my coffee cup and was like, here, and then the coffee would come to me. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I kind of figured at resorts like everybody would speak English. I guess that was like a false assessment. Now, don't get me wrong, there were people like the front desk could speak English, but like nobody else, like at the bar and stuff like that, it was very minimal, very, very minimal.
Waseigo. Waseigo is the term for those Japanese language that are like English words, but they like molded them into Japanese. Like, I was saying, like baseball. The term I was looking for is waseigo. Waseigo? Ego? It might be a full E. I'm not. But yeah, it's like those words I was saying that are pseudo English, like biru when talking about beer, or besobaru, kind of thing like that.
Yeah, like what other? I'm trying to think of another language where it's just basically like just English words with like other stuff added on the end.
Yeah, sometimes they'll just insert the full-on English word into because they don't have an equivalent. I've heard that enough in foreign films and things.
Well, I guess we do that here too, right? I mean, a lot of the words that we say are not English.
Oh, dude, just, how many of them are seriously just straight French?
Yeah, like
words?
pizza. Is pizza an English word, or is pizza like Italian? Like, do we call it something different than what they call it, or because
I feel like our pronunciation is English, but the word itself is probably Italian.
Yeah, and then you got the words that are pronounced the same, but they're spelled differently.
Right, that's
like color and color.
Oh yeah, the U. So all of the funny misspellings from British English to American English has more to do with the fact of printing was expensive, and so they would drop the extraneous letters in America because it was cheaper.
So we truly are the lazy language.
Capitalism. Yeah, capitalism.
Money talks and Rojo Toro walks.
Anglicism. Yeah. Pizza's Italian. Yeah, but I think, like I said, I think our pronunciation is wrong. It's lazy. It's a coupe.
We actually say coupe here, but it is spelled coupe.
Yeah. Again, it's just
and then all the car
probably expensive to put that little thing on the top.
Yep.
You know,
like what do they call the boot and the bonnet, and we call it the trunk and the hood.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, man. It's weird. It's just weird.
Yeah. Resume is French, but we don't call it that. No, it's a CV, right? In English. Americans epitomize laziness. Creative laziness. Okay. Now, because it's not like, oh, we're just a bunch of like bums who don't want to do shit. We find better ways of doing shit.
Yeah, actually,
in the same way that like in the like 50s and stuff, Japanese took like the transistor radio and then shrunk it down, right? They found a more efficient, easier, better way of doing things. So have we with a lot of things.
Yeah, if you think about it, here, let me move this up. Is the overlays not on? Hold on. I'm gonna fix something here real quick. Nope. The new version of OBS sucks, by the way. Like it's got so many little problems. It's very buggy. All right, there we go. Are the overlays working now, or
it is a major upgrade though. Like it's a huge update.
Oh shit! I did a nani. I messed
Curriculum
up.
vitae, your vital knowledge. Baseball in Japanese is yakyu. It's been in Japan since 1872. That was one example. That was a probably a poor example of what I was attempting to describe. But I remember a girlfriend of mine back in the day. She took like Japanese for 4 years. It was super cool to like she could just flip right into Japanese like in the middle of a sentence and stuff. It was really cute. But there is like a separate. Like that guy was talking about the waseigo. There are terms and expressions and that are just basically like twisted English words.
Like what?
I remember distinctly the picture. Well, I gave some like beer or baseball, and it's like has like the kind of
they just put the "ru" on the end.
Kind of because like they can do the L's and stuff. Yeah, quite right.
I gotcha.
I remember distinctly she had like a poster that showed certain like a little kid kind of kindergarten style poster that showed different examples, and just the ones that stood out were beer and baseball. Like not the game, but the ball itself is at least how I interpreted it.
Okay.
Kanji, I think that's one of their letters. That's a letter. It's like a particular alphabet, isn't it? I think kanji is and that's separate from the other. Shit, there's another like script or something. It's like almost like an alphabet. Yeah. There are 3 alphabets. And I remember too that Japanese is basically made up of like only like 4 different sounds, kind of. Or maybe it's like 6. But the whole language is basically a combination of like just a really small handful of sounds. Kanji, oh, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, kanji, katakana, that's it. And hirakanza. I forgot about the hirakanza one.
Dude, I think I just broke stream
Hiragana.
elements.
Man, don't break stuff.
How the hell this is happening?
Stop breaking things.
No, right? No, I'm trying to figure out because we normally have like a little overlay on the top and bottom, and if somebody does something, it does like a little pop up, right?
Yeah.
But then I went into the stream elements like talking scene thing here, and oh, there we are. Wait, hold on. Wait, is this it?
Matrix language.
Okay, this is so fucked up. Why is this not working?
Physical languages have that they borrow words from. Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, in French, saying you are going footing means you're going for a jog. That's weird. Hiragana. Yeah, that's the one I forgot about. Well, I forgot the other 2 all completely, really, but.
All right.
Oh, we're gone.
I think we're back now, right?
No, you're back. I'm back. There we go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to figure out. So I accidentally deleted the scene with the stream elements overlay, but I haven't looked at it in like 2 years, so I don't know which one it is. So then I went into all the stream elements overlays because I want to get the stuff back where it pops up notifications and stuff.
Yeah, where is that?
And yeah, I'm trying to find it, but every one I click on, like when I go into stream elements, it just pops up and says, "Uh-oh, overlay doesn't exist" for every single overlay I have.
Oh no!
Like it shows them all. It shows them all. Like they're all in here. Like I can go flying through. But if I click on edit, like
you
the
probably
edit
got
the overlay,
like,
it just says
relink the browser source or something.
Yeah, there's something weird going on.
Tennis shoes or runners. Yeah, that's a pretty common one. Runners.
I'll figure it out.
That's what my mom used to call them tenny runners as a kid.
The shoes?
So like when we were kids, like she'd, instead of like tennis shoes or whatever, she'd call them tenny runners sometimes.
I would say that my mom said that too, or some variation on it.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, so starting blue flare fast.
My language is Old Slavic. We used messed up pronunciation, German, Italian, as well as Turkish words. However, English usually for new age computer stuff. Yeah. So that's an interesting, I mean, not one of our current topics, but like, so I'm
got it
on the fringes of D&D like communities and stuff quite a lot. I observe in that sense quite a lot. And something that came up that I thought was interesting is like somebody was like, "Oh, I don't like common as a language in Dungeons and Dragons. Like if you're gonna have like one common language that's like that like everybody knows, what's the point of even having other languages then?" And I thought that was an interesting topic because it's like, well, what about like English or Mandarin, right? English is pretty ubiquitous. Like if you go to any big tourist town in a foreign country, a lot of people are probably going to speak a little bit of English, right? It's when you start getting out into, the more, local, I guess, places where maybe they're not going to know English, are going to know the native tongue
don't be racist.
The country. That's how I always kind of interpreted it. Like even in like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff is like when you go to a big city, like Neverwinter, let's say in the Forgotten Realms, most of the people who live in a big fucking port town like that are going to know like some common language, whatever. Like there's going to be some common language that most people are going to know a little bit about in order to conduct business or something, and then of course there's going to be other languages that are like specific to different locations or races or whatever. And it's like, why is that a problem? I guess
I didn't even know that there was a language component to Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Like, I guess, because I used to play it all the time when I was a kid. I mean, my friend Kevin was the dungeon master and we get everybody together. And I don't remember there ever being like a language component.
Dialect,
So there is a language component to D&D if you want, like where the characters can't talk to each other.
Well, like each race will have its own language, right? So like Dwarfish or Elvish or, Dragonborn will know Draconic and things like that. And then there's other like, there's like Celestial for like angels and stuff. There's Abyssal for like demons and devils. There's Well, draconic is often tied with like magic, ancient magical stuff. Primordial for like elementals and things like that. I always thought common was English, and that's oftentimes how it's interpreted is common or basic. Even in like Star Wars, right? There's like a basic language, and that's English. Where then all the other alien races will have like their own languages and stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
the more you
a
know.
lot of times you kind of just skip over it, because like it only makes a difference if it makes a difference. Common D&D should be something like Pan-Slavic language, a mixture, or Esperanto. I mean, it's I don't know. I've always kind of interpreted it in a similar way to like how like in Star Trek or even Star Wars, it's like assumed that the observer, the person watching, just has like a translator, like that sometimes they are speaking in their foreign tongue, but because we're omnipotent omniscient observers of the story, it's all just automatically translated for us, right? It's that kind of thing. But in a sort of collaborative storytelling space like D&D, you might encounter people who don't speak a common tongue, and so like if you come across a dark elf that's only ever lived underground, right? They're probably not going to know common. They're going to know whatever Underdark or whatever the cave language is or whatever. Actually, I think it's Undercommon. I think is in Dungeons and Dragons. But like that's all. I just thought it was an interesting topic that some people were gonna kind of going back and forth about.
We can always ask Jim too, because he is our resident DM.
He's like he just popped in there and said D&D sounds like a fun game.
Sorry guys, I've been out of it here for a little while. I'm going through and trying to fix all the shit that I've broken over the last half an hour.
I keep thinking too, like, man, when it comes to the D&D thing, like I would be down to play more of a play-by-post kind of a game, even where it's
like chess or whatever. Like,
well, no, kind of, yeah, but like where we all, like we could do it in a Discord server, or there's other services and stuff like Rollgate and things like that, where we just add our pieces to the story as we can. We check in once a day or whatever, or a couple times a day, and we can move the story along that way.
Oh, kind of like the old door games, like Legend of the Red Dragon and stuff back in the day. Did you play any of that?
No.
Or like Trade Wars 2020, like you basically logged into the BBS because they could only have one caller at a time. You'd call in and you'd play your turn and do all your things, and then people would come in and then they would do their things. And if you were in the same area as them, it'd be like, oh, somebody was here today and did this. And then you could like interact with them offline, and then you could come on and do the other side of the interaction later. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
And I've seen games like that played in forums and stuff with D&D play by post sort of deal.
I feel like games are just now getting to the point where they're getting the complexity that like the old text-based adventures got. Like, I feel like there was this thing where, like, early on, if you go like way back, I'm talking like late 80s, early 90s, right? You had these Dungeons and Dragons games where it was like the graphics sucked. The graphics were absolutely atrocious, right? But it was more of the text-based adventure behind it, right? It's like, go north, do this. You could just basically like King's Quest, right? I want to go over there and kick the chicken or whatever. And you could do these stuff. You could do those complex things back then with very little processing power because you didn't focus on the graphics, and the graphics weren't a constraint. You didn't have to do an animation for everything. But nowadays, I feel like we're kind of coming full circle on that, where we're finally getting to the point where we're getting back to like really dynamic gaming, but with the graphics to boot. But there was a huge period where that wasn't the case, where we went the direction of like Dragon Slayer, where it's like go left or go right or push this button at this time. Like you had to choose between good graphics and shitty gameplay, or just the most amazing like you can do anything style gameplay, but then the graphics had to suffer. Zork was pretty cool. Zork was awesome.
I want to see more
Mist too,
especially with the way that like you have these AI, sort of generative models and things like GPT-3 and whatnot.
Yep.
I would like to see something a lot more robust than like AI Dungeon is a really good start, but what troubles me with AI Dungeon is it's kind of stupid. It doesn't remember anything. As you're progressing through this like AI generated story, and you're interacting with it in a lot of the same ways that you would like Zork or some of those older, or Adventure. Remember Adventure? It was just a text-based thing. Yeah. It doesn't remember anything. Like if you say, oh, I pick up the snot off the ground, you can't then later in the story say, oh, you can say, oh, I throw the snot at the guy, but whether you actually had it or not, it would just assume that you do, and then it works. Like you can just
Right.
make stuff up. There's no constraints in as far as like what you have or what you're able to do. You can just make stuff up. Like, oh, I just pull the fucking axe out of my butt and throw it at him. You know,
Yep.
like it doesn't matter if you actually had the axe or not. I want to see the story, sort of like emergent storytelling that comes with AI Dungeon, but with the framework of a proper RPG. Like it needs to have that structure of like an inventory and at least just an inventory, or like keeping track of like what you've done and where you are and things like that, so that it can be more context sensitive.
I kind of feel like we had that like without the graphics, right? Back in the day. Like I felt like there was games where you could just be like, oh, you've entered a room and there's a rock and a table and things on the table. And you're like, inspect table. Oh, the table has a candle and this. And you could just pick up useless shit that had like no use in the game. And then you just be like, use it on stuff. And it'd be like, oh, you unsuccessfully used the candle on the door.
Yeah. But still, yes, we did have those sorts of things, but it was still very, it was all pre-generated, right? Everything that you could do, everything that was the whole world already existed, right? It wasn't.
So you want dynamic flexible actions, like not just dynamic objects, but dynamic actions where it's like you're sitting there and it's like you could just say you're outside. I want to look at the sunset, and it's like you can't because there's a moon out right now or it's nighttime. And it just implies it knows what you're talking about based on neural networks and stuff using like one of the AI frameworks.
And like I feel like the pieces are there. I feel like I'm 5 years before like
before the genesis
lane keeping and things like that. Yeah, like the pieces are all there, but nobody's put them all together properly
like
yet.
The AI art generation, could you imagine applying that to an old text-based adventure?
Yeah.
Like go back and find like King's Quest, not King's Quest, but go back and find like one of the just add what's it called?
Dolly?
Dolly?
Have to be like Dolly, Midjourney, a bunch of those things.
Yeah, just add those onto it and plug them into the mechanics where it's like you walk outside and there is a brilliant sunset and then it just shows you
it could just be an image. Yeah. Just an image. It doesn't need to be a 3D world or anything. It'd just be like, here's what you see. Here's
and it'd be different every time you went through it, right? Because the cool thing about those things is the seed that they use to like for the neural network is random. So you could actually just ask it the same thing 100 times and get 100 different images, and you would never get the same image twice.
Yeah, man. Neverwinter Nights, stuff like that. They had a little touches of that kind of thing. Like you could go off the rails a little bit, and like you could kill things that were important and stuff. That's part of what made Fallout, the original Fallout 2, like really neat, is like you could just kill important characters. Oops, that guy doesn't work anymore.
Well, I love the door game Legend of the Red Dragon because you could just walk into the bar and you could be like, I want to pour a beer on somebody's head, and you do it, and then whether they fought you or not depended on a random roll. And then you'd be like the lady would deliver your beer, and you'd be like, I want to sleep with the waitress or whatever. Or you can even be like, I want to sleep with the bartender dude, and it'd be like, he thanks you for your advances, but no thanks, or something like that. But it was like you could do a lot of really crazy stuff, right? It kind of reminds me back to the days of like even the first graphical games like Ultima. Did you ever play Ultima when you were a kid?
Oh, I did.
Dude, I loved Ultima. Like Ultima Underworlds and Ultima 6.
Morrowind.
And then Ultima 7, which got a little bit weird. Like Ultima 7 was bizarre. It was like where they kind of did the hybrid, like digitized graphics, but the same weird 2.5D perspective thing. It was weird. But I liked Ultima 6 because you could do like anything. Like you could literally just go if you wanted to just spend the entire day, you could go around the entire village and find every powder keg, steal it or buy it from somebody, take it back and put it in the king's bedroom, and then wait for him to go to sleep, because they all had their little paths that they would follow. So nightfall would come and the sun would go down, and then the king would come into his room, walk around all your things, go into bed, and you'd light off all the kegs, and he'd jump up out of bed and be like, who tried to kill me? Who tried to kill me? And he'd be like darting around the room all pissed off and shit, but he didn't know you were the one that tried to kill him, because the powder keg is what attacked him, not you. So you created a buffer between you and him, and then he had the amulet of restoration or whatever, where you couldn't kill him. Anytime he got down to 1 hit point, he got like all of his hit points back. And so you could do crazy stuff like that. You could, like, I spent an entire day just because it was fun to figure out how far you could take it. I spent an entire day pushing a cannon all the way from another castle, all the way, just one unit at a time, because you couldn't carry it. You had to push it. So push a spot. I spent the whole time pushing this can all the way across town into the thing just to stick it right in front of him on the throne. and then light it and let it go. And he gets up out of the throne and he's like, where are you? But he couldn't get out of the throne because I blocked him in with the cannon. So he's just sitting on the throne all agitated, like flipping back and forth and like blowing, getting all pissed off. Guards. But the guards didn't know who to attack because the cannon was what hurt him, not you.
Nice.
So stuff like that was pretty cool. But I think if you went back and you just took the mechanics of a game like that and you just tied it into DALL-E and you just tied it into OpenAI for the story and for the graphics, you would have like an amazing game.
Yeah.
Granted, it'd be buggy as shit. I mean, because anytime you do something dynamic like that, it's going to have a billion bugs, but I'd rather have the bugs, honestly.
That's the thing. That's what makes a lot of some of these things super, super interesting is you give people a flexible set of rules, a framework to operate within, and then just let them play with the sandbox, right? And I don't know, that's really freaking cool. That's super rad. Like, look at what people have done with Minecraft, right? Like, they've got fucking full on like computers inside of Minecraft using this what is otherwise a really super simple set of tools, but they've just gone so far beyond with some of this stuff. It's amazing.
Did you see the guy that created the Minecraft computer that could run Doom?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Shit I saw.
Like, come on,
he basically wrote like using blocks, not like scripting or anything, but using the blocks as the logical gates, the transistors in a giant processor that was literally like huge. It took up like half the land, right?
Oh, I bet it have to. It's ginormous.
But then it had a giant screen that they made, and the pixels on the screen were like blocks that would turn to show like whether it was black, gray, or white. And then they basically like loaded a Doom WAD file.
Cool.
And like played Doom like at 1 frame every 20 seconds or something like that.
Like, imagine one of those like those flip boards, right? The it's got those little tiles on it.
Exactly.
Like playing Doom on the Grand Central Station like board.
I saw a guy do a TI 99 4A. I saw another guy do a Commodore 64. They basically recreated those computer architectures in Minecraft with blocks.
That's what I mean. It's like you give people just these simple frameworks, these rules within to operate, right? I mean, it's like Dungeons and Dragons. They give you a framework to work within, and then from there, it's up to you to like do whatever you want with it, Yeah.
I mean, in a way, GTA 5 is much of the same too, but with more modern graphics, right? That's why
the
GTA
mods
is
and
so
stuff.
popular, is the mods. I mean, there's crazy stuff there. GTA 5, how old is GTA 5? It's got to be like, what, 10 years now?
10 years at least. Come on.
So 10 years and however many releases.
It came out on like the PS3.
Yeah, it's the only one. It's the only game I know of that released on Xbox
360,
Xbox One, and Xbox Series X. Like 3 generations of console, the same game released. Like, and they kept just making it more and more graphically intense. And the computer version, like, oh my god, have you watched some of the videos on YouTube of the graphics mods for GTA?
Oh yeah.
There's like these ray tracing graphics mods that you can put on, the hyper realistic mods, and then they have a mod you can put on where it switches out like all of the billboards and stuff with real companies, and the car names get reverted back to the real car names that Rockstar couldn't use. Those mods are like crazy.
Some of that is,
and now we got GPUs that can run that shit at like 60 frames per second. It's nuts.
Yeah. Jogel brings up an interesting thing, the GTA for AI agent training. There's a one guy who was on Twitch. He might still be, but he was using GTA 5 to train a self-driving model.
Oh, I watched that video.
Yeah. Really cool.
Yeah, they basically used the video, the same algorithm that would like look through the video cameras to like figure out stuff. They just recreated the video cameras virtually in the environment and used the graphics in the game. To figure out how to navigate. I watched that video. Yeah, that was badass.
Learn how to drive. Yeah, he was doing the programming and stuff for it on Twitch.
Yeah,
he might still be. I don't know. He was doing a machine learning stuff. That was like his gimmick.
There's another graphics mod that takes all of the street view imagery from Google Maps.
Oh, nice.
And overlays it onto like the surrounding stuff, like the buildings and stuff, like actually look like the real buildings. I mean, they're a little jank if you get too close to them, but if you're just driving down the road, like through the middle of the city, it looks like you're playing, like you're watching a video. Yeah. It legit looks like real life. And then you stop and you can kind of be like, oh, that edge looks a little weird where the grass comes together or whatever. But
run it through DLSS a couple times or something like that, and you're good to go.
Plus, I mean, you can just use a neural network to stitch everything together in the end.
That's it. Yeah, there's no reason why it couldn't be like you're actually walking down the street.
Yeah, if you can type into like DALL-E or whatever and say, hey, give me an image with this, this, and this, you could easily say, make these two images blend together. You know,
I just recently started playing Spider-Man remastered for PC.
God, the graphics on that are amazing.
I mean, I played like Control. I played Control, so I have a 3080 Ti.
I haven't played Control yet.
I played Control. I didn't really notice much improvement from my 1080 Ti and I have a nice Samsung 4K monitor. It's very nice. Control was okay, I guess. But holy fuck, dude, Spider-Man I think is the best game that I've put on my 3080 Ti so far. It's gorgeous. Holy cow. I'm blown away.
The thing I like about it is they got the bounding boxes better than I've ever seen in any other game.
Dude.
Like the way that Spider-Man like hits the buildings and grabs onto stuff and moves around. Man. It's not that janky like melding together thing. It's like it's perfect. It's like almost perfect.
The swinging is so satisfying. Like I'm not very good, right? So that kind of ruins it because like I'm a janky ass Spider-Man. But like when you get into a groove of like the thwip and swing and oh dude, it's so freaking cool. Yeah, man. That's great. I want to check out. Oh, I downloaded Metro, the PC enhanced version of Metro 20 something. That looks gorgeous too.
Metro. I'm trying to think. That's an older game.
Exodus. Metro. Oh, so they did Metro 2022, Metro 2023, 24, and then the most recent one is Exodus. And that's
think I've played any of those.
Stalker 2 is coming, and I think that's going to be fucking mind-blowing as well. I think if they do what they are intending to with Stalker 2, it's going to be great. It'll like crush Fallout, honestly. I think it'll be great.
I haven't done any gaming lately. Like the last game I played was like Halo Infinite, and I played it for about 4 hours, and that was like a couple of months ago.
Nice.
So I really want to get back into gaming. I miss it terribly, and now I'm kind of getting some control back in my hands again, like where they're not just going numb and stuff, and I can grab stuff. So it is kind of fun to like sit down and play a game. But that's mainly why I haven't played.
I gotta play most of the games with a controller because my desk is a little bit too high for where I should be ergonomically, and it's fucking up my arm.
Wait, what the hell is this? Hold on. Bolt Creek fire was reported early this morning near Skycomish. DNR is responding with the aircraft. US2 is currently closed and evacuation orders are in place. Oh, damn. These fires are getting close.
Was the Okanagan burning down again?
Yeah. Oh, man. I'm like right in. I probably shouldn't go outside today.
Oh, I've heard it's pretty nasty north of Seattle. It's getting pretty smoky.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. It's like literally the biggest plume of the smoke. The highest density of the smoke is like right over my town right now.
Oh, damn.
So I probably shouldn't go outside.
Yeah, don't do that.
I'm actually surprised it doesn't smell like smoke in here, though, because I got like the air conditioners going, but I guess I'm not. I'm just circulating the room air. I don't have them open to the outside. Dude, that sucks. So yeah, those fires burning not far from us, like not even an hour's drive, not even close, like half-hour drive.
Yeah, to make
is where the fire is.
Oh man, there's been this thing floating around TikTok of this guy, or it looks like this guy's playing like a tech demo of a Superman game. But I think it's just like a looping video, and it looks great. I would, from what they've shown in this weird looping tech demo thing, it looks great. I would play this game. The Superman looking game looks pretty freaking cool. Farming sim is good for just relaxing and pretending to play. I like a lot of those simulator games. I'm particularly fond of Car Mechanic Simulator and PC Building Simulator, of course. That's just me. I'll probably grab number 2, the sequel, when it comes out. I think I can think of a few things that require rapid movement while on the internet.
I'm messing around with things to make sure they work. Let's see if this works. Hold on. Okay, can you see that on the screen? Oh, actually, you can't because you're inside of the control room. I forgot.
I might when it pops up on the YouTube if it does.
I just did a simulated tip just to see if the UI was still working, and it popped up and said $1.69 from Houston's penis. Oh man. Oh, I think everything's working.
We got the nice. Spider-Man 2. Oh yeah. I heard that they basically copied the swing mechanics from the PlayStation. Hey, there it is. Bing.
Isn't the entire game
popped up
like the new Spider-Man game, right?
Uh-huh.
Isn't it? Didn't they just like program it to work on all the platforms? Like it's like using the cross-platform technology stuff. So it's like the PC version is the same as the PlayStation version is the same as the Xbox version.
I think so because
there's
like
no Xbox version, right?
When it I don't think so. I don't
Because
think
Sony owns Spider-Man, so there's no way they would release that on a Microsoft platform, because they would just put it in the game studio for like $19 a month or whatever, and they wouldn't get very much money.
Yeah. Yes. In fact, I think at least when it first came out, they even still had like the PlayStation button symbols. You know, press Y or X when it should have been like B or something if you had an Xbox controller. Yeah, I think it might even still. I don't really pay attention that close, but they may have pushed an update to show you like Xbox buttons instead of PlayStation buttons. But I remember seeing some posts about that like when it was the first day it came out, people were like, "Why is it showing PlayStation buttons on my PC?
I remember
got
seeing
my
that.
Xbox controller right here," kind of thing. Yeah,
yeah. Did you see who's
or like
in chat?
people trying to like make fun of PlayStation people, like, look at me, I'm playing a PlayStation game on my PC with an Xbox controller. It's like, bro, it's been out like a year and a half. Like, who are you making fun of right now? Although the mods are freaking hilarious. I've seen people like swap the skin for Spider-Man with like Kermit or like John Wick and stuff like that. It's freaking hilarious. That's the best thing about
these
PC
games are so moddable. So they're obviously using some kind of public infrastructure if people can just like just in there.
All it is you're swapping one JPEG for another. If you can find where they hide the textures, and you know that it's just like swapping skins in Minecraft. You know it's just an image that they then wrap around.
Oh, they're not changing the model. They're just changing
it's just the texture.
Okay, just the texture. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, which is extra hilarious when you have a game like Batman Arkham Asylum and you swap the skin for Catwoman and put it on Batman, or put Batman's skin on Catwoman, so that during the cutscenes you got Batman doing all these like sexy like wigglies, and he's like shaking his butt as he walks away and stuff, because it's Catwoman's animations in the cutscene, but it's Batman's skin on the model. It's so funny.
That's hilarious. I tried playing Cyberpunk, but oh my god, the T poses just pull you out of it.
It's way better. I never had any problem.
Really?
Initially, some weird graphic glitches, like there was like a tree that was 300 miles away that was like more forward in perspective than it should have been. But I had a few graphical glitches like that, but otherwise I had no problem whatsoever with Cyberpunk.
And I played mod is replacing really Spider-Man with Uncle Ben's grave. That's terrible.
Oh jeez.
Can you hear that?
Oh, gross.
What? Don't judge me.
That. I'm not.
David's in chat. He said, I'm once again picking up my basement as I attempt to avoid getting renovated on. So he started with the bathroom, right? Didn't he renovate the bathroom? And then he came home and he said mice got into his shit or something. So now he's having to do some other stuff.
Aw.
It's time to just move. David, just burn it down and go somewhere else, man. We all know you actors have billions of dollars. Just go buy like another fortified fortress, like down the street. It'll be fine. we should put David Hewlett in GTA. That'd be funny. The Dr. Rodney McKay mod. Where it's like he just runs around and like all the sound effects or whatever, instead of being like, hey, what the fuck, get away from me, or whatever, it's just like, I blew up a planet, get that citrus away from me. Everybody's running around squirting citrus on him instead of guns. You just got lemons. Throwing lemons. Like, somebody go make that mod. That would be hilarious.
That'd be funny. That's good stuff.
GTA has a mod for everything. I bet you that I bet you they already have it, but I bet you they've already done a GTA mod that's like Spider-Man, where you swing like building to building to building.
Oh yeah,
because I've already seen the Superman mod where you can fly around to Superman and like shoot your heat vision and blow cars up and stuff like that and take on the cops. And I've seen one where you're the Incredible Hulk, where you're just massive and you just run through the city and you're just like blowing all the cars up and stuff. You can't destroy the buildings, unfortunately, but you can like run around and like, jump and do the Hulk smash and everything around it blows up. It's pretty crazy how much stuff you can do like with an open world game like that.
Right.
And they don't just change the graphics, but they can change the mechanics too, which I thought was like really cool. Like they can go in there, like I've seen them do those crazy like racing games and stuff where they create like these giant tracks in the sky, like the Nürburgring, and you like fall off and you just fall down for like 1,000 miles down to the city and then crash. And everybody's racing on this big sky track, and it'll even like respawn you like in Mario Kart. Like you fall off the track or whatever, and it's like blink and you're right back on the track going again. It's just, I don't know, man. I feel like sandbox games like that are just opening up for everybody else to create even better games than the original was.
Yeah.
And companies are against that because it's like even GTA, like if you have even a single mod, if you have a single texture mod or whatever, boom, your banned, characters deleted online. Like even if you just play locally, it's like if it has network access. I even got banned not even playing online. Like my online character got reset because I played on a modded version, just playing campaign, and then I went back to another computer and got on the regular version to play online. And it's like, oh, you've been banned for modding. And it's like, but I never logged in with the modded. But that's the thing. As soon as you open the game, it logs in and does a checksum with the server, even if you don't play online. Ooh. It's so stupid, man. Like, I don't know. Plus, we don't own games anymore. That's kind of a point of contention. It's like, all of our games from our childhood, we can just go to the Internet Archive and play and stuff. And it's like in 20 years, you will not have the ability to play some games. Right. Like, unless you have that exact hardware disconnected from the internet with some hack or patch on it, like that game is going to be like, it just lost the history.
Crazy.
And I almost think that that's sort of by design because they can just keep selling more games, right? It's like the retro collector of the future isn't going to exist like they do today. You're not going to have that person that just has their retro collection they bought secondhand and they're playing all these games and having a good time. You're just basically going to force everybody to go out. Oh, you want to play retro games? Well, you got to use our streaming service where you run it on our back end server for $20 a month and you don't have to buy. And then the other thing I'm really worried about is like media licensing stuff. Like I'm starting to see like the hints at it where it's like Nintendo taking down videos and stuff for just showing gameplay footage. And all these companies that are like Epidemic Music or whatever, they're leasing music and sound effects packs, and these other ones doing visual packs. It's just a matter of time before the gaming companies are like, hey, untapped revenue source. Let's start charging people that make videos with our game, a certain licensing fee. Like you have to pay $20 a month to use our game footage in your videos, even though it's you playing the game. Right now it's just disable the music and you're okay, right? You can disable the music of the game and you're fine. But pretty soon it'll be like, nope, that sound effect is copyright. Nope, that graphic is copyrighted. Nope, that 3D model being shown its likeness on screen is copyright. And pretty soon you'll just have to pay everybody to make a video. It'll be like $1,000 to make a YouTube video because you have to pay 700 licensing fees.
Yeah, whatever happened to fair use, like, come on.
Yeah, I don't feel like fair use is the protection it used to be. Honestly, because fair use is only as good as it's only as good as your ability to defend it. Like it's not an implied right. Like, I mean, a company can still sue you, drag you to court. You still have to get a lawyer. You still have to pay for that lawyer. You still have to go through that process just to prove your innocence. And you still lost. Even if you win, you lose.
Yeah.
Like, did you see what happened to Tozy?
Who's that?
So Tozy, friend of mine, that I met at Vlogger Fair long time ago. But he has a channel where he does like, internet news. He reports on like scammers and stuff like that. And so this crypto scammer named Buttboy Crypto, it's actually Bitboy Crypto, but I call him Buttboy Crypto. Anyways, he didn't like what Itozi was saying about him because he called him out for videos where he was making promises that if you invested in this crypto, 100% guaranteed you'll 10x your money, when it was a rug pull and everybody lost all their money. And he deleted the video, but Itozi had a copy of the video from when he originally released it. So like as soon as it got rugged and he made his money, he deleted the video like, oh, never happened. And so Itozi brought it back up. So he served him with papers with a cease and desist, and he's like, screw you, like under fair use, I'm not using your whole clip, I'm just showing the specific points of the video that prove that you said these things because I'm commenting on them and I have to back it up with journalism requires that I back it up with evidence. And so anyways, he serves him with paper, cease and desist. He goes, then he just sues him he just serves him with a lawsuit. Because he's a crypto scammer. He's got tons of money. So he goes and has a lawyer draft up a lawsuit. He submits it. He gets served with papers that he's got this lawsuit that he's got to do. He's suing him for $70,000 and, other penalties and damages the likeness and his brand. And specifically, the lawsuit even calls out that he publicly tarnished his name by calling him a dirtbag. Like somehow it's illegal to call somebody a dirtbag on the internet.
No way.
So it turns out he did this, the same guy, he did the same thing with cease and desist to like 20 other YouTubers that created videos on him. So he'd go after him, he'd do the cease and desist. Those other YouTubers didn't want to take it to a lawsuit, so they just took down the content and folded to him. Itozi didn't. So what does he do? He takes him to court. He has to lawyer up and put all this money on the line. His wife's pregnant, just about ready to have his baby. And he had to created a GoFundMe and raised over $200,000 in one day for his legal defense. And as soon as he did that, the Bitboy Crypto guy the very next day pulled the lawsuit and like made a public statement that's like, oh, I didn't mean for this to go public. I just wanted him to take down the videos. And it's like, okay, so now you're admitting to suing him just to make him take down something that he had every right to have online. And so that guy was just like going down in fire quick. But then he pulled the lawsuit. But if he hadn't have been able to raise that $200,000, he would be in court and he still was out attorney fees. He still had to pay a bunch for attorney fees. But then he refunded the money to everybody. But now the guy's like, okay, well, I can't sue him because he has more money than I do now for his legal defense. So more than likely he's going to win and I'm going to get countersued. So he pulled out, because if he doesn't do the lawsuit and he pulls the lawsuit, then you can't countersue him because the lawsuit never went through. So, because normally you could sue somebody for your legal fees if they lose the court case, right? Then you can go back to, but if they cancel the court case, you can't sue them because technically you never went to court over it, even though you had to get a lawyer, have them review it, negotiate the terms to get it dropped and everything. You still had to pay a huge substantial amount of money just to get the case dropped.
So dumb.
Yeah, and they're referred to as slap suits, right? And this happens all the time. And so this is basically people, that are like, okay, well, I can spend this amount of money that's less than what I would lose if this person is allowed to tell the truth. So I'm going to spend that to suppress them because it's the better financial option. But now today, because of GoFundMe and stuff like that, these people that have a big following, they can raise a huge legal defense. And it scared the shit out of this guy. And this guy was like, literally like, oh man, I didn't mean for this to go public. And it's like, what do you mean you didn't mean for it to go public? The day that he served Atozy the paper, he made a YouTube video that's like, I'm not going to let people tarnish my name and tell lies about me like this, and I will see you in court. It's like, well, if you didn't want it to be public, why did you tell your entire audience about it before Atozy even had a chance to respond to it? So, and plus he's out the videos that he couldn't create during that time because he was, working on the legal case. He's out the money to his attorney, which I hope he kept at least some of the money from the GoFundMe. He said he refunded it all, but I hope he kept at least some to pay for the legal defense so he wasn't out of pocket.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean,
shit like that is freaky. Yeah, it's like me. It's like I say a bunch of shit online. It's like, but I also have, like friggin' 100 millionaire venture capitalist back at me who has like the best attorney in the world. That's like, yeah, if anybody has a go at you, like they're going to fucking regret it really quick. And otherwise I wouldn't do it. Right. You couldn't, like, I couldn't say the shit that I do, and I couldn't have the opinions I do because somebody could just slap suit me for anything. And it's sad that we live in a world like where that's allowed, like where that's considered legal. Like the way I see it is if you sue somebody for something and they're out the money, if you lose that lawsuit, you have to be on the hook for everything, all of their legal things, any potential revenue that was lost during the time they had to fight this, everything you should be on the hook for. So if you sue somebody, you have to be reasonably certain that you can win that case and be prepared to lose all of that money and all of that ground if you don't, because it's just way too easy to sue people. That's it. Only if you have money. If you don't have money, it's really hard to sue people, because just to open a lawsuit, to get a lawyer to draft the letter, or to draft the lawsuit and then to submit it to the courthouse and pay the fees and everything, you might be into it $2,000 to $5,000 just to start the lawsuit, just to start it.
Oh yeah, just filing and paperwork and stuff. Yeah,
it's absolutely crazy, man. Hey, can you take over for a few minutes? I gotta run downstairs for a minute.
Why not?
I'll be right back.
Yeah, man. Okay. What's up, you guys? I guess I'm not calling Dirtbag anytime soon. Yeah, right. That'd hardly be the worst thing he's ever heard. Yeah. Come on. Let's see. Anything going on in the chat here? Self-censorship. Yeah. I mean, I don't know exactly the context what you were bringing up there, David, but you hear it a lot on like TikTok and stuff where you have to kind of dance around certain taboo words and stuff. Like you can't say, shit, I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it on YouTube. So like you have them say like unalive themselves, that kind of thing. Zumo mama for calling me a dirtbag. Probably. Yeah. That's weird. You guys can hear me through Jerry's headphones. Are very slightly being picked up by his mic. I'm hearing it at least. Toast. Yeah. It's coming through his headphones. That's funny. Same on YouTube. Yeah, I figured as much. Yeah, this self-censoring. And that has more to do with, I feel like that has more to do with, because, a few people have ruined it, right? Like, there's a lot of people creating content that, like, pushes for that sort of thing, and that's weird. Should we clone humans for their organs? Is that ethical? Ooh. I feel there's an argument to be said. I don't know about a full person, right? A full on, even if it was like yourself, right? Because like even identical twins are like unique people, right? They're genetically the same, but they're still unique individuals. And so I think that would be super weird to clone full on humans, like the full person, just to harvest organs. That's weird. But we are at a point where you could clone your own organ, just the organ. eBay been watching The Island. Yeah, right. Yeah, we're at a point now where you can just do the body, not the full body part. Like if you're missing an arm, that's going to be tough. But like we are at a point where you could have your own, like they basically just regrow your own heart. I think we're at a point where we're at that point where it's like technically possible, but it's not like, it's not something that we can just do. You know what I mean? An organ bag rather than a full person. Yeah, I think growing a whole person would be super weird and would take forever anyway. Like you got to wait until they grow to be like at least what, 15 or so, 10 to 15 before they're, you know, you're not trying to pull out an infant's lung, right, and put it into me, right? That's not going to work. So that takes forever. There's no accelerated growth, right? So that's going to take forever, but you could theoretically grow the parts. And that, to me, that's perfectly fine. Do that. Should we eat dolphins? No. I like how India years ago declared dolphins to be non-human persons and are given similar rights, actually. So that's super weird. And I think that we should explore that sort of concept more closely, actually. Like, I know recently, and I say recently as in that could be a span of like yesterday to 5 or 10 years ago. What I think they're saying, like anthropologists or some group of scientists have like upgraded orangutans and certain other apes to be in the Stone Age. They are creating their own tools and things like that. Wouldn't cloned organs have the same genetic issues? You could fix that during growth. You don't have to. A genetic copy of that is likely to have the same issue by the time you need it. No, if you're going to clone your own organs, you would do the Gattaca thing and remove that sort of stuff. Why would you regrow a broken part? You could, if you're going to grow it from stem cells, you could fix the brokenness. Some organs, we could take a donor organ, strip all the cells off it, so it's just a cytoskeleton is left and seed it with your cells. Yes, they've done that with hearts. Actually, you can. They actually have done that with. I want to say it was a heart. They did exactly that, and it's like, it's super weird. It looks all like a fuzzy white. It's like almost clear, translucent sort of thing, and can't trust scientists. They will say anything to get your cash. I mean, they need the money for their evil experiments.
What did you? Yeah, I was gone for like 5 minutes. What tangent did you just get off on?
Somebody asked me if it would be unethical to clone humans for their organs.
Huh?
Or would it? Should we clone humans for their organs? Is that ethical? I said cloning whole people would be bad. Simply for organs or for organ harvesting,
brain, right?
But we don't have to do that. We can just clone your own parts. Like you can just grow your own.
Yeah, it's actually more efficient because then you don't even have to like remove it from the body. You don't have to spend all the energy growing stuff you're just going to throw away.
Isn't cancer a random mutation, highly improbable to repeat in the exact same way? Not necessarily. You can actually be born with like, and it just has to trigger just right, you know. But a lot of cancers, yeah, I think are just like, oops, we got a little mix up in the mitosis part and shit's weird. Yeah, that like skin cancers, a lot of skin cancers are just from, you know, your DNA breaking down from being bombarded by UV radiation and stuff. So yes, but some are built into you genetically. Like it's oops, and it just happens to flip a weird switch. You breathed wrong, and now suddenly you have lung cancer.
It is so smoky outside, dude. I went downstairs, like, opened my door, and it's like, yeah, it's like orange haze outside again.
Oh, dang, spooky.
So I noticed my wife and Kim were gone. They didn't say they were going anywhere today. They're like, where are you? They're like,
oh, smoke got them.
Smoke got them. She's like, I'm going to Krispy Kreme. I'm like, really? like last night I went to get in the hot tub and she stopped me and she's like, no, it's way too smoky outside. It's like 10 times smokier today. And she's like, got to make that Krispy Kreme run. It's all right. I can't falter because I want some Krispy Kremes. But yeah, I just thought that was funny. I was like, oh my God, it is so smoky out. And you guys are out there driving in that shit. But I guess you got recirc air and the newer cars have the HEPA filter. So yeah, it's probably better to be in that car than it is to even be in this house. Yeah. Barbecue or forest fires? No, it's forest fires. And as a matter of fact, one of the forest fires because it's trending right now, I clicked on it over on Twitter. It's like one of them is less than half hour away from me.
Damn.
So like there is a huge forest fire about a half an hour from where I live, which is pretty crazy to think about. However, remember those wildfires we had was like 2-3 years ago, or it might have even been a little longer. You know, the ones where there was like ash and sediment on the cars. That one I remember got within not even a 5-minute drive from my house. There was an actual fire burning. Damn. So I was like, ooh, that's getting a little too uncomfortable, because like where I live, it's all surrounded by woods. So, and then houses. And if all the houses next to the woods, if the woods are on fire, they're going to catch the houses. And then the tar roofs and all that material is going to burn extra hot and throw embers over, lighting the other houses on fire. And the houses just end up being like a fuse, igniting all the other stuff. So I'm like, I don't like that. That's a little too uncomfortable. And it's not like everybody sitting outside with fire hoses is going to keep it at bay. You know, those fires burn so freaking hot. It's like, oh, you know, you're sitting out, you see the people out there during the forest fires, like their garden hose, like trying to hold it back. And it's like, you know, good attempt, but on a fire that big, there's no way. Like if you've ever had a bonfire and you try to just spray a hose onto it, it just instantly turns to steam because it's so hot. It's like the volume of water you need to put on target to actually get it down and smother the coals is like unreal. So, I mean, you could sit there and spray like if you've ever had like a really red hot piece of metal and you put it in water, the Leidenfrost effect, the water will not even touch it. So you'll see the water boil around it, but the water will never touch the surface of the hot object until it sufficiently cools down, because it'll just instantly vaporize it off. It flashes it off. Yeah. And so I've also seen, I watched a video just when I woke up this morning when I turned on TV, just happened to be a guy who was like running his hand through molten metal. Have you seen that one? Oh yeah. In a foundry where the guy's like, he's like taking his hand, he's actually breaking the stream of molten iron pouring out. I mean,
if you're fast enough, it's
he like dips his hand in water and then he does it, and I guess like the water like vaporizes off, but so that it doesn't actually touch your skin. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. Like I'd hate to be the guy that figured that one out, right? Like, oh man, I tripped, and he like pulls his hand and he's like, oh man, I'm somehow all right, let's do that again.
Yeah, the same for like liquid nitrogen. You could dip your hand in there real fast, bap, and it's the same kind of deal. The heat of your hand is boiling the liquid nitrogen fast enough that it creates like a barrier around your hand of air, or probably nitrogen in this case. But yeah,
I've actually put liquid nitrogen in my mouth before. Have you ever done that?
Sure. No. So I mean, I've had those like liquid what do they call them? Dragon balls or something like that, where you get there's like little puffed rice or something. Yeah, no, you take you can take liquid nitrogen and you pour just a little bit in your mouth, but you have to keep it constantly moving. And you don't want to swallow it. But you put it on your tongue, you just move it around in your mouth and you constantly keep it moving. And it won't, but if you let it even sit for like half a second, it'll like flash freeze. Oh yeah. So it's like super dangerous. Okay. I don't recommend anybody do that, obviously. And then another guy I saw, who was it at I think it was the Cooler Master booth at like PAX years ago. There was a dude who was like pouring liquid nitrogen into his mouth and like gargling it. Like he was like putting his mouth and going, and it was like bubbling and like shooting shit out of his mouth. I was like, how the fuck are you not burning yourself? And then when he's done, he just like leans over really quick and blows the rest of it out of his mouth. And I was like, how the fuck is that not like destroying you? Man. And you do the same thing with your hand too. Like you can take a little like drop of liquid nitrogen on your hand, just roll it around on the surface of your hand. And as long as you don't let it sit long enough, it won't freeze anything. It'll just like move around. It's really kind of cool effect, but I screwed up and I held it in one place too long and it froze the skin solid. and then that skin died. So I don't recommend doing it. Like don't listen to old Barnacules here, because even I screwed it up. And then they also, like, if you don't want to do the thing where you put it directly into your mouth, what you do is you freeze an M&M and then you put the M&M in your mouth after it's frozen. But again, it's so cold that if you don't move the M&M around constantly with your tongue, it'll actually just freeze solid to your tongue. And like you'll peel skin off, like trying to take off. So you have to basically let it thaw in your mouth and then you can remove it. So yeah, I don't know. Liquid nitrogen, it's not as dangerous as people think it is. Like I remember when I was a kid, a lot of stuff is like that though.
Yeah, everybody told me, oh, liquid nitrogen is so dangerous. Like, oh my god, it's like T2, man. You just touch it and it's gonna instantly like just freeze you solid. It's like no, man. Like I've seen people like dip shit in liquid nitrogen for like a second or two and pull it out, and it's like not even remotely frozen. It takes a while for that heat transfer to take place. I'm just sitting here on the internet telling everybody like put liquid nitrogen in their mouth. Seriously, don't though.
I mean, look, as with all things, you know, a certain amount of caution is warranted. But like, what is it? It's like I always like to I like the concept of like not telling kids to be careful, but to pay attention instead, right? Like it's okay to let people do dangerous things carefully, you know, or with caution. Like pay attention to what you're doing. That's all. Like have a care, basically. So
Truth. Hold on, I'm trying to see. Okay, viewer activity, good. All right, sorry guys, I am really out of it today. God damn it.
Me too. I woke up this morning and I'm still half asleep, man. I had my coffee and stuff, and yeah.
So yesterday I slept. I only got to sleep 3 hours before I had to wake up and go in to get my back shots, the steroid shots on my back. Those are incredibly painful. And then normally after I get the shots, I get really comfortable, like for a day, because they inject this precursor medication in there that's supposed to numb you up for 24 hours while the joint heals. Because they're basically like pumping fluid in there like hydraulics. Like they put it in your SI joint, they insert in viscous fluid, it like spreads the joint out. So it feels like your hip is being pried apart. And so it hurts really bad. So they put a medication in there that numbs that entire area for like a day. And it's like, usually it's like my golden day where I can be like, oh, for the next 12 hours, I'm Cinderella. And it had the opposite effect. It hurt so fucking bad when I came home yesterday. And then I streamed and it made it way worse. And so the whole night I was just up and pacing back and forth and trying to figure out how to get comfortable and shit. So I didn't sleep for shit. So 2 nights in a row, I probably only got about 3 hours of sleep. So I'm a little out of her today, guys. And I apologize for that. 15 euros cents per bottle. Sweet. I'm gonna load these all on a ship and bring them to Europe so I can cash them in.
15 euro cents? What's a euro cent?
What's a euro cents? Yeah, we get 5 cents. Oh, you get 10 cents in California. So if I go past Oregon and go down to California, I get double my money. That's nice to know. Like, how can they even do that? Like, why? Okay, so why is a bottle in California worth 10 cents, but in Oregon it's worth 5 cents? If you had a truckload of these, wouldn't it be worth it to double your money just to drive to California?
Supply and demand. Like California clearly wants the bottles more than Oregon does.
Apparently.
Oregon probably got 1 million fucking bottles. Everybody recycling and shit.
I wonder what they're doing with them.
Eco bricking. I mean, if Oregon, probably eco bricking.
What, like, what the hell is eco
Google
bricking?
that shit.
Eco bricking?
Google that shit, man. Basically, so you take the bottle, right? You take other plastics, like plastic bags or whatever. You shred them up and then you stuff the shit out. Just pack the bottle full of all these plastic scraps and stuff, and it becomes pretty dense. There's a you got to pack it enough to
I'm looking density. At it. It looks like it's like super packed in there. Yeah.
But then you with a little bit of like cheesy mortar that you can make just out of like whatever.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah, you make them into you can make houses and shit out of them.
Yeah, so they like lay them on their side, so it's like thick wise.
Yeah, like this.
So like you build a house and it looks like, you know, basically
and then you
like
pack up a bunch of them. You pack up a whole bunch of them. Yeah, like that.
And because they're stuffed full, that allows them to be load bearing.
Yeah,
because there's not a lot of airspace, and it probably insulates really good because of all the little air gaps between everything inside of it.
Yep.
Because the air is a really good insulator.
Yep. That's why igloos work.
That's pretty damn cool, man. Oh yeah, no, I remember when I was a kid, we built an igloo in the front yard, and we actually had a fire inside of it.
Yeah, man.
And with like a little chimney that we cut out, and it was like the igloo stayed frozen all night long with a fire burning inside of it. It was literally like 60 plus degrees inside.
It's got to escape somewhere, but the little chimney or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, but I thought that was cool that it's like 60 plus degrees inside, but it's still so cold on the outside it keeps it frozen. Like it glasses over on the inside. It's bizarre, man. I still don't really understand how that works, but it sinks the heat away so fast, right?
Yeah. Just physics magic. That's all you need to know.
It also took that igloo almost 2 months to fully melt.
I believe it.
Like when we built in the front yard, it's like the whole yard, all the trees, all the snow was gone, and it was still there for like a solid 2 months, slowly eroding away.
Cold in too, right?
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It is super cool.
Nice LTX 2019 shirt. Yep. Representing. Got my LTX on.
Boo. No, I'm just kidding.
It's all right.
It is very strange to me, the visceral reaction that I have to a lot of anytime like Linus or LTT in general like is trending and stuff. I get I just have this weird ugh. It's like, so don't care. And then, man, not to beat a dead horse, because the whole like warranty backpack thing is super dead now. But like going back over some of those clips, like some people of him like on Wan show next to Luke, and like Luke kind of calling him out, like, bro, I don't think you're interpreting this the way that you think that
Luke tries to save him
like,
a lot.
Being and like you can tell that he's like being very cautious in what he's saying,
well, he
to
has
like
to be.
not push
too
far, like to not not disagree too much with the boss.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, just it's, but I have said my piece on Linus enough. It's just every time something comes up, I'm like, this fucking guy, really? That we need to have this again? Like the screwdriver too, $70 for that screwdriver. I bet it's super good quality and stuff, but I'm like, bro, I spent $20 on my Cobalt double clutch screwdriver. It's great.
That doesn't have the LTT logo on it though, bro.
No, it says Cobalt. It says Cobalt on it. Now, to be fair, one, they don't sell my particular screwdriver anymore. And two, before it disappeared, the price did jump up to like $45 for it. But like, I'm like, man, there are better ratchet, and not just ratcheting, because like mine, if you grab the collar, you can twist the handle both ways. And like there's a switch on it to go forward or to go back, and I can rotate the handle either way and it'll spin the one way.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I guess that's what they mean by a ratcheting screwdriver. I imagine his does the same, but to me, ratcheting like clicks and like mine doesn't click. The newer ones, they click. They have like a teeth in them or something. Mine's like super fresh. It's very smooth, no clicking.
Oh, yours probably uses the belt system. Yeah, because I have a screwdriver that has like a little belt in it. When you turn it, it's perfectly smooth, and then it locks up. And then you turn it, it's no teeth.
I've kind of seen inside of it just a little bit. And it's gears. From everything I can tell, it's just gears.
Really?
And you flip a switch one way, and it jacks the gear into a particular spot, and it will spin that way. You slide the clicker the other way, and it spins the other way.
Oh, okay. So
that's great. I love this one. I love this screwdriver so much. I will constantly, and it takes tiny bits like this guy. I can put it in there because it's got a little 3-ball grabber system in there. Like, a quick change. It'll take the tiny guys all the way up to the regular. I don't have an example of the bigger ones because I only have my small version of my Cobalt driver. But yeah, it was just weird.
Well, the one thing that I will say in Linus's defense, just knowing tools myself and having to, I've had several tools throughout my life, is that the tools that his screwdriver is basically priced to compete with Snap-on. So, and the Snap-on screwdriver like literally sucks compared to his. Like, but here's the thing. This is why you pay the premium for Snap-on, is you could literally break that thing in half on camera and send the video to Snap-on, and they will drive a truck to you to hand you a brand new screwdriver.
Yeah.
And Linus won't do that, obviously. LTT's not going to do that. So the trust me, bro warranty. So you have to calculate that into the price. Snap-on doesn't necessarily make like the greatest tools. I'll be the first to say that Snap-on actually does make good tools, but for the price, they're not worth it to the average person.
I've heard that since Sears folded, Snap-on's not as good. Like, since they weren't backed by Sears, it's not as good.
Oh, well, because they don't have to compete with Craftsman anymore.
I guess.
Because Craftsman also had the unlimited warranty. I mean, Sears wouldn't drive it to your house, but I worked at Sears. Remember, that's like where I started my whole career when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember that one of my jobs as a dock worker was if somebody brought in a broken tool, they would take it to the tool, the tool area, and they would get, and then they'd trade it in, they'd hand them another tool, and then the broken tool would go in a bucket. And my job was every night I had to go out to that station and grab those buckets of broken tools, bring them back and dump them in a 50-gallon drum so that they could be sent back for remelt and made into new tools. And the shit that they would replace anything for any reason. Like, seriously, broken sockets, wrenches cut in half. Like, people would like cut wrenches in half to modify them to do a job, like to get into that tight spot. Sure. And then they'd bring the cut in half wrench inside and just be like broken because they weren't allowed to ask. They weren't allowed to ask. They weren't to be like, oh, how did it break, sir? How'd you do? No, it's just unconditional lifetime warranty. Literally unconditional. You bring it in. So we'd get about a 50-gallon drum full of tools about 3 months. Every 3 months, a 50-gallon drum completely packed to the top of broken sockets and wrenches and stuff. So Craftsman tools aren't the most durable. Snap-on, however, was way more durable than Craftsman for the most part. But the thing that made Snap-on better than Craftsman and worth the extra cost is like my buddy who worked on cars, the guy who did the turbo system in my Corolla back in the day, and the same guy who did like the stereo system in the car in my truck, and the same guy that did the car PC with the fiberglass molded dashboard. He uses exclusively Snap-on tools. And I finally realized why, because I went in one night and he was working on the fiberglass thing in the dashboard, and his little butane burner that he was using or whatever, his little torch, he has like a little soldering torch thing that he was using, and it broke. Like the torch broke, and he literally just calls a Snap-on representative on the phone. It's like 7 p.m. at Circuit City in Bellevue, and the Snap-on van like rolls up like 20 minutes later. The guy gets out and hands him a brand new torch. That doesn't even take the broken one back. He just shows them the broken one is broken. You go, here, take it, because they don't want to haul the tools back and have to dispose of them. So he just gives them a brand new one, and he came to his job to do it because he can't leave his job, right? He's got work going, time is money. So he just transitioned to another project, waiting for the Snap-on guy to get there. He gets him the torch, and then he transitions back. But Snap-on will come to your business and replace the tool. And so that's why you're paying like, $70, $80 for a screwdriver.
Oh, that's good.
So, but however, I will say this, that for the price, Linus's screwdriver did perform really well in the testing that was done online. But like Project Farm did like some of the most complete testing I've ever seen.
How hard can it be?
Well, I mean, they're testing like the torque, how much torque load it can have, how hard you can hit it with a hammer. Basically, where's its stress point and its breaking points everywhere.
I guess.
And it was pretty durable. So, but again, $70 for a screwdriver, it's merch. At the end of the day, it's merch. If it didn't have Linus's logo on it, that shit would be selling all day for like $30 with a huge profit margin. So obviously it's merch, and that's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. It's like, oh, I want just like the backpack. Who's going to spend $250 on a backpack? Like, you can find that same backpack, not the same backpack, but a backpack with similar capabilities, better materials for cheaper than $250. The reason you're paying it is because it's LTT. It's merch.
So the price there for the backpack, again, so like I've paid.
By the way, thank you, Christian, for that super chat. We really appreciate it.
I have a shoulder sling that's by a company called Hazard 4, and I paid like $120 for it. But this thing is like ballistic nylon, like it'd halfway take a bullet for me almost. Like if this thing would protect me from like a sword coming at me. If this thing's heavy duty shit, it's like it's like Hazard 4. They make like gun bags and like,
these are the ones that have
private
like
military
in them and shit.
Yeah,
right?
It could. Like they make private military quality kind of stuff, like hardcore parkour. And so like depending, like I would buy a backpack from them and spend $200. I don't know that I trust Linus to be selling a $250 backpack that's worth $250. But I mean, I don't know. They seem to have put a lot of effort into it. I'm not gonna buy it, but it's enough.
Well, the thing is,
some people.
The point that I was trying to get at though is like, there's no way they're gonna price match like a name brand with similar capabilities, because it's merch. They're not looking to just make margin on selling it. They're looking on making the merch, the merch money, which is like triple profit.
That makes sense.
And I mean, everybody does. Like when you go buy a t-shirt and it's like $20+ for a t-shirt, it's like they paid $3, $4 for that top. Yeah. Like if they're doing it in volume.
Man, actually, I'm shocked going through like looking at like Printify and stuff to make some of those designs that I was thinking about. Bruh, I mean, if I were to start selling like that t-shirt I showed you, the Twitch Thought t-shirt that I showed you, I'd have, just to make like $3 or $4 profit, I gotta sell it for $25.
Yeah, like
I'm shocked. Sometimes it depends on how nice of a shirt you want to put on behind it and stuff. But like, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I just want $5. I want $5 profit, and now I have to sell a $19 t-shirt. I'm like,
Amazon will make you ship your shirt for $12. $12. They're the cheapest. Nobody beats them.
Really?
Like if you use Amazon's commercial t-shirt printing service, where you just upload a graphic and you pick the shirts that you want to, I think it's like $12 or $12.99 or something like that per shirt. Everything after that is margin.
Merch on demand on Amazon. Yeah.
So look up the Amazon t-shirt thing, because I only know about that because when Comic Age Clothing was like ripping off all the content creators and running their scam, I found out going through their website that they were just putting a front end on Amazon, and when you bought the shirt, it was just automatically sending it over to Amazon, having the shirt printed and sent to somebody, and they were pocketing the $20-some in profit. So because they were selling shirts for $35, and they were making it look like they were independently like silk screening and making the shirts themselves, and they weren't. The shirts were actually made by Amazon, and they were like next to nothing to create. Now with my merch store that I had, because they were being printed by like my friends in low volume, like in their living room,
Yeah.
the margin wasn't nearly as good, right? You know, I'd have to sell
Right.
a shirt for $20 and then I'd maybe make like $3-4 profit tops. But with Amazon, you do a lot better. And then if you're somebody like Linus, where you're ordering the stuff directly from a Chinese factory and you're actually storing inventory and selling it, well, then you keep all the margin, right? I mean, you still have to pay, you have to work into the price of the shirt, the storage and reclaim and the turnover and all that stuff. But once you calculate all that, it's like you're still getting the margin you would have lost going with a t-shirt printer, especially at volume. And they sell at volume, so it definitely makes sense for them to have their own operation. Yeah, Gamer's Nexus tool set is really cool. Like I wouldn't mind having Gamer Nexus's tool set. Steve's, where it like rolls up in the bag. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah, those are great.
Yeah. I like the idea of that. And even Project Farm was funny. Like when he reviewed Linus's screwdriver, he's like, okay, we're only comparing ratcheting screwdrivers, but he kept just for fun saying, oh, and this is Steve's screwdriver, and you can hit it as hard as you want, and you turn as hard as you want. Like it just passes all the tests because it doesn't have the ratcheting feature. It doesn't store any bits. So it just passes everything. But the thing is, it does take up a lot more space than the screwdriver. If you had to carry it around job to job, you can't just throw it in your pocket and go somewhere. You have to carry a physical bag full of tools.
Funny. I would. That's where my head was at. Was like, if I wanted a portable toolkit, I would take the roll up thing, and it would go into my little bag and stuff. Like I don't know. I have my ratcheting one so that I have an all-in-one solution at my workbench. I don't want to bring that away from my workbench. I want it there. I don't mind having like a rollout thing with a bunch of little specific tools when I would be out, if I was out on a job. I think part of that's the perception. Like it would, I don't know, it just seems cooler to like roll out all those, all the tools.
Well, it's faster too. It is legitimately faster, because when you have to like open a thing, pull a bit, pull another bit out, put it in the thing, if you roll your tools out, it's just like you see everything. It's just grab, do it, and you can even pull two tools at a time and use them simultaneously.
Right. Yeah, that would be very clever. Because sometimes even with the tools that I have, I have my small guy for small stuff, and then I have my big one for regular PC stuff. It's still a little awkward having to. I basically only ever use 2 bits. I have a 0 and a 00. Like that's it's a 1 or a 2 for bigger stuff. Actually, I have. Yeah, it's like a 1 or a 2. Yeah, a PH1 for regular screws, and then a 00 for the small stuff for like M.2 drives and things. Like that's it. That's all you really need.
Yeah, I have a Stanley screwdriver set that sits like on the desk, that they're all upright, so you can see everything. And I love that tool set. Like I'd want like a ratcheting screwdriver if I was just walking around and I need to use it in a bunch of locations, because I don't want to carry around that huge thing of tools. But if you're sitting at a desk, I like just being able to gaze up at it. And it's like, I don't have to rotate and look for the bit that I need and put the other bit back. It's like, I can just visually go, that's exactly the next size up. That's exactly the one that I need, because there's pictures of all the bits on the top of the screwdriver handles.
Oh, nice.
So it's just like, you just reach over and go, oh, grab that one, grab that one, grab that. Oh, I need that. Okay, grab that one. Oh, an Allen wrench. Oh, boom, it's right there. I don't have to grab a bit. It's like all the wrenches are lined up right there by size. So you can just grab the one you need. So
and a 5mm socket driver for motherboard standoffs. That's all you need.
Yeah, it's just a trade-off. But the thing is, I just see that's the only thing that I wanted to say about the whole Linus situation. This goes for any content creator, not just Linus, is that you're paying the merch fee. Like don't think Linus is trying to compete with like Snap-on or whatever for price versus anything. Service.
It's like iFixit, it's not getting into the market for that.
LTT has a massive audience, like a massive audience. It was like 14 million subscribers on the main channel or something like that. So they're selling merch, and the reason people buy from them is because they want to represent, right? They want to go to LTT land and be like, look, I got the backpack, look, I got the screwdriver, look, I'm supporting the channel doing this. That's why people buy merch. They're not buying merch because it's better. It's not like it's not like they're coming to my store and buying a t-shirt and being like, oh, Barnacules t-shirt is the best because it's like just ripstop nylon and it's $10 cheaper than the next earlier competition. It's like there's no way they're going to compete with Under Armour. If anything, they're buying the shirt from Under Armour and then adding more onto it and doubling or tripling the cost. And so when you buy merch, that's exactly why it's merch, and why it's not just like what would you say, like the cheap product that the company produces, right? It's just a way to support. And they make, and I believe they make the most off of their merch out of anything. I think it's the largest square now.
Dude, that's for like anybody, honestly. Like that's
for me, it never was. For me, it was never even close.
Yeah.
It's just well, actually, that's not entirely true. One month I did sell like seriously like $8,000 or $10,000 worth of 3D prints.
I do want to get
3D printing stuff.
I do want to get into some sort of merchy stuff. Just for like residuals.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like Steve. Steve like all his merch is unique.
Yeah,
Like his tool set is unique. His bar runner's unique.
The bar runner, like that's fucking neat. Who would have thought to do that as a tech channel? Like, come on, that's so freaking cool.
It's like all the content creators, like the vast majority of them, including myself, right? It's like we just sell stuff like mugs and shirts and all the regular merch, right? Like the little, what do you call them, the tchotchkes or whatever that are at the
weird
little
little
store.
kitschy shit.
Yeah, you know, just people want to support and have like, you know, a cup or a logo on their desk or something. It's cool to see somebody like, you know, Gamers Nexus be like, oh, well, I work on computers, so I'm going to sell the same tool set that I use on the screen. Like, you know, you can tell he uses the tool set because he's literally using it right in front of you, you know? So it's one of those things. It's not like Raycon earbuds where it's like you only see them during the 60-second ad spot and the rest of the movie or the rest of the video, they're wearing EarPods Pro because they forgot to take them out and put the Raycons in. That cracks me up, dude. That cracks me up so much, man. But we've talked about that, right? Sponsorship, advertising. It's like, it's how these people make their money, right? It's like, if it wasn't profitable, they wouldn't do it. And you wouldn't have
somebody, where'd it go? Somebody just so random. Was it on Twitter? Oh, it must have been on Twitter then. I'm not big by any means. Okay. Like I live in your shadow in a sense, but some Twitter fucking at drink poggers. Okay. Messaged me and said, hey, AuxxZillary, we'd love to discuss you becoming an affiliate for our energy drink company. And like, they seem pretty legit. Joined last year, January of last year, of 2021. I mean, they have 37,000 followers, like whatever. And there's a million fucking energy drink companies out there now, like whatever. I'm like, okay. I said,
most of their products are all manufactured in the same factory. They're in the same. It's like, this is obviously G Fuel rebranded.
G Fuel. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
100%.
Like, whatever, man. I'll hear you out. I said, I'll hear you out. What's your pitch? He sent me, whoever their social media person is, sent this shit to me on, I guess on Monday at 7:16 p.m. on a Monday. And I don't look at my message requests often enough, so I'm really sorry if you guys, I tell you all to hit me up on Twitter for things, and I need to be better about checking my message requests because I have to accept that stuff coming in. So I messaged this guy this morning when I saw it. I didn't realize it was from Monday, but I was like, I'll hear you out. What's your pitch? And so we'll see. So you might see me slanging some Poggers energy dust, but it's an affiliate thing. So it's all, I'm like, y'all have to buy the shit first, right? And like, I'm perfectly satisfied with coffee. Like,
no, I think affiliate stuff is the most honest of the advertising and sponsorships.
I think so.
Because the affiliate stuff, it's like you buy it, you don't like it, you send it back, right? You get a refund, or if you only benefit the creator if you buy it. It's not like they're taking $10,000 to like shove something like Raid Shadow Legends down your throat.
That's what bugs me so much, man. It's like I wish there was like a better way to do those sorts of activations. I would love to have like 5 keys to a game that I was actually interested in playing to play or whatever, just something, anything. Wireless earbuds. I have like, well, now I only have like 2 different kinds of wireless earbuds, and I'm like, I would love to test more of them. Try them out.
Yep. So I want to respond to one thing in the chat here real quick.
Sure,
so Eric G said, one other thing to remember is LTT products like the backpack and screwdrivers, that they're designed by an engineer in-house from the ground up. They're not from the ground up.
I doubt that.
They're not.
Now,
even Linus has shown that's not
to
the case.
Say that they didn't work with the manufacturer.
No, they did
to like adjust things. But I would not believe for a moment that they have someone who is a LTT or LGM LMG employee that is a product engineer.
They do probably have a product engineer on staff. They actually did hire an actual mechanical engineer, worked on the screwdriver. But the thing is, I do understand R&D is a big deal. That does cost the most in any product. But just realize that even Linus himself said the ratchet and pawl system in their screwdriver is based on another screwdriver that already exists. Like they literally took it and then they just made slight little tweaks to it. And so it's not a completely ground up screwdriver. Like if you take it apart, it's like everything in that screwdriver all the way down to the bits does share some similarity with something that's already been created before. So, because again, to tool something up from complete scratch, like literally, if that screwdriver, like all the bits and everything were all like bespoke made in a factory only for them and nobody else, you know how expensive that would be to tool up for that? Like even at $70 a screwdriver, unless they're selling like, 5,000 of them a day, they probably wouldn't make all that much profit. So my guess is the screwdriver they started out with a screwdriver that already existed, that they probably already used and liked, and then they just changed it enough that they wouldn't get hit with a copyright infringement or a trademark infringement for you know, you have to change the design to a certain extent. And that's
licensed but heavily modified. Okay.
Yeah, heavily modified. That's basically what it comes down to. But they do have an engineer on staff that actually did make the modifications to make it better and pass certain tests better than the previous screwdriver that it replaced.
Cool.
And I think the screwdriver it's based on is still like what, a $50 to $40 or $50 screw. It's not a super cheap screwdriver. Like the one that they based their model on. And then they did the half height bits so they can increase the magnetism, because the magnet behind the bits or whatever, the shorter the bit is, the more magnetism gets through it.
Dude,
so it's a much stronger magnet. Huh?
You don't like. You should not expect the magnet in your screwdriver to be strong enough to magnetize the bit to hold a screw.
My bad.
You rub that shit on there and magnetize it yourself.
It's the shortness. Sorry, it wasn't that. It's the shielding around it. So like when you put the bit into the shaft, the further that it goes into like the shaft, which is like, you know, iron and steel, steel basically, it fucks with the magnetic eddy or whatever, so it loses its strength. But if it's half height, more of the screwdriver is out. So like something to do with like the way the magnetic currents or the poles work, it puts more of it forward so that you get more magnetism and it doesn't get like dampened down by the collar.
Oh, cool. Right on. Well, good for them.
It's pretty cool shit. So I mean, at the end of the day, but I'm just saying, like, people are like, oh yeah, that's ground up. Like they started on the board and they're like, they drew it and they're like, oh, this is the space age screwdriver that's like unlike anything else that's ever been made. It's like, no, the plastic bit, sure, because you can tool up for a plastic bit for like 10 grand. 10 grand you can get a mold made, an injection mold made. They can make thousands and thousands of screwdriver parts. The metal part that's in it, the ratchet and pawl system, designing that from the ground up, that might be a little bit tricky depending on the machines that are doing the injection molding of the whatever that metal is, that weird metal that they use in tools for the ratcheting system. But like the pawls and everything like that, it's like those are all coming out of a factory. Like they might be slightly modified from the original design, but they're not tooling up an entire factory to just make LTT screwdrivers. Like this is actually made on a factory line in a factory where they probably make a dozen different screwdrivers for around the world using the same assembly line, just slightly different tooling.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing with the backpack too. They might design the backpack from the ground up, but still the backpack is being constructed by a company that literally makes backpacks. Like it's not like they created their own company in China to like manufacture these backpacks from the ground up. It's like they went and selected different materials. They probably started with a backpack they liked and added on to it. Yeah, that's just how the process works, and that's not all that different from how other companies do it too. I'm just saying that when they're doing the R&D, it's not like they're sitting down and let's create a product that's never existed before. It's like every feature that's on that backpack exists in some way, shape, or form on another backpack. It's just all together in there.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that they did actually put some effort into like making it. Like it's one, like that's cool and all that they took one that they liked and then like paid to do better on it. Like that's cool. That's cool to hear.
They definitely did, and they also proved that, you know, they have like over 100 prototypes.
They literally made a whole video discussing how they made the screwdriver. Why so much speculation? Probably because we don't fucking consume Linus's videos. Like that's
nobody
why.
Could. He makes 5 videos a day. If you watch all of Linus's content, you couldn't be here right now because you'd be having to watch his content to keep up on it.
Do not consume LTT content at all.
They have what, like 7 channels or something like that, produce 13 pieces of content a day or something. You know, I think it was
not. But that's fine.
Yeah, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. You couldn't consume it all if you want to.
That's why you guys are here. Yeah. I appreciate you know, when these things are pointed out and like that's cool. That's good. Molds cost 100 grand, 100%. Yes, they do. Like, dude, tooling is outrageously expensive. Outrageous. And this is just from experience of tangential experience working with Puget Systems. When at one point there was they looked into creating their own chassis, brand new, and this is from ground up, not just like, hey, we like this one, we want to modify it. Like, what's it going to take if Puget Systems wanted to create their own case, brand new?
Yep.
Outrageously expensive, literally like $100K just for like the punches, to punch the steel.
Yeah, the amount you need to sell is insane just to recoup that.
Yeah, so much. And honestly, this is the way it should be done. You say, hey, I really like this one product. You talk to the manufacturer and the owner of that design and you say, hey, I really like this. I'd love to work with you guys or something like that and modify it to make it our own. Because then you're piggybacking off of all of the work that they did to get the manufacturing up to you know, whatever.
And Hobbs said they created their own mold, which is much more expensive because they own their mold. I can actually tell you from because I'm friends with a machinist in the United States that literally makes molds for third-party manufacturers. The cost to create a mold that could make like 6 of those screwdrivers at once is about $10,000. It's not as expensive. Now, did he create 100 molds to get to his final design? Like, it's possible. Like, that might be where the money is. But no, the actual master mold that's actually pressing the screwdrivers, those things are about 10 grand a pop. Now, does he have 20 of them? Is he selling so many screwdrivers that he has 20 of those molds cranking out that screwdriver? Sure. Then maybe that's where the $100,000 or $200,000 is coming from. But molds themselves aren't as expensive as people think. Like, to create the master mold in tool steel and to have it milled out, it's about 10 grand for a decently sized mold. It's not all like that much. And that's in the United States. That's not China prices. That's if you want to have it done in Goshen, Indiana. 10 grand.
Yeah,
so,
I believe it.
for an injection molded part. And the parts that the injection mold for the plastic is one thing, but the injection mold for the metal, I don't know what kind of metal is. It's like a pewter. It's like a reinforced pewter. It's not a strong metal. The metal, it's not like they're making that ratchet system in the screwdrivers made out of like tool steel. That would take an insane
cast steel or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's like I forget what it's called, but yeah, exactly. It's like that steel that like it looks and varies in color and shit, right? It's like it's a mixture alloy that has a somewhat low melting temperature. Neat. But that's what everybody uses. It's not like I mean, if you buy the PB Swiss screwdriver, chances are you open that up and it's probably like CNC machined parts inside of it. But with something like a $70 screwdriver, there's no way you could afford to do that. Like, you can't tool up the CNC, a custom billet shaft and a custom billet, insert and a ratchet and pawl system that's tuned down to like, 3 microns of accuracy. Like, the price goes up exponentially when you start doing shit like that. So you have to find that median ground. It's like, how do you create something that's 99% of the quality for literally half the price? And you can, and there's people that will literally pay that double the money or triple the money just for that 1%. That 1 extra percent matters to them. And that's something that I never understood either. Like, when growing up, like my dad, he did drywall, right? And my dad was broke as shit. Like, we grew up so poor. Like, I've told you guys the story a million times. It's like I'm coming back to my roots, Dad, because I'm becoming poor, and the IRS is about to give me the biggest wedgie ever. But he spent a shitload of money, like literally a shitload of money on his drywall tools, because when he worked as a drywaller, you have to have your own tools. Most mechanics do. A lot of people don't know that. If you become a mechanic and you go somewhere, you have to bring your own tools. Like, it's rare unless you work at like Lamborghini or something like that, or Ferrari, you have to bring your own tools. That's why if you ever go into like a shop, you'll notice that like each station has like a different colored toolbox usually, or they're using different types. It's up to them, right? The mechanic gets to choose their tools. And so he had this like, what was it called? A taping bazooka, which is like, they call it a bazooka just because it looks like a big tube. And it's the thing that like lays down the paper and puts the mud on it. And the one that he had was like 6 times more expensive than the cheapest one they made. But the difference was the failure rate on it was like nothing. Like the other ones, you'd have to you'd get the paper bound up and you'd have to fix that, and constantly having to stop to like change things all the time. That adds up over time, right? When you're working, when you get paid per, line that you're doing, it's like if you pay 6 times more, but you can do 20 times the work, then it's worth it, right? It's worth it to pay the extra money. And so I kind of learned that from my old man a little bit growing up. Is like, there's certain times where you do want to, spend the extra money to get the little bit extra, because when your time is money, it's like any downtime becomes exponentially expensive. If you're paid $100 or $200 an hour as a mechanic, and you're down for an hour having to drive somewhere to get another tool instead of having Snap-on just bring you a new one while you're still working and you're doing work, it's like that cost you now the entire price of that tool 10 times over. Like, you should have just bought the right tool in the first place. So that's, but for same thing with home use. Like, you ever notice like most people get by with Ryobi tools. Ryobi tools are fucking garbage. Stuff, they're fucking garbage if you use them at any kind of volume. Like, so when I did roofing when I was...
it was freaking Kevlar gave me like his whole freaking set. Man.
No, he gave you his whole set because he now has DeWalt.
Because he got a bunch of DeWalt stuff. Yeah, no. But
DeWalt is a huge upgrade. So here's the thing. Ryobi, and full disclosure, I own Ryobi too. I have both Ryobi and DeWalt. I started with Ryobi, now I have DeWalt. I wish I had more DeWalt. Here's the difference, though. Here's the difference that you'll notice. Same thing with Milwaukee. Milwaukee looks like the dumbest tool set.
Now, Milwaukee's cheap, but I've heard like it's cheap, but like it's good.
Milwaukee is the most expensive tool.
I've heard like a kind of jank quality for the price is what I've heard.
The weird thing is Milwaukee's batteries look Stone Age. The design of their tools looks stupid. Like, it's Fisher Price, if you ask me. Yeah. However, so many people spend the premium to buy the Milwaukee's because the batteries last forever, because they use top-notch components that cost 3 times as much as the other batteries. The electrical connections and everything inside are all like coated with like nitinol or whatever, like the crazy metals and stuff that don't wear when they contact with each other.
Yeah.
And so you spend the premium, and it's like, for you using a Ryobi tool, let's say that you use the tools once a week. Like you have your bag of tools and you cut wood once a week and you go out and you do once a week. Ryobi's fine. You'll never notice an appreciable difference between Ryobi and the next 2 tiers up, right? But if you use them, all day, every day as your job, that Ryobi will be dead by like the end of day 3, and you'll trash a battery every week. Like you could not use them in like a volume production environment.
Yeah. I am only doing like home stuff, so that makes sense.
And that's why they make them, right? It's like, why would you go pay like $10,000 for the Porter Cable commercial line of tools when you can get every one of those tools in Ryobi for like $500?
Right.
Like a 20th of the cost. But if you're a contractor and you're on the roof and in the middle of every job you're throwing a tool away and having to be down for an hour to drive to Home Depot and buy another one, it's not worth it. So then you buy the higher production tools, and that's all you're buying. Is like, when you get the higher quality tool, you're just getting more precision, which means the wearing surfaces and the friction are going to be less, which means over time it's not going to wear as much. You're buying batteries that can be cycled and charged rapidly with like the proper cooling on the charger and everything, that it's not burning up the battery packs. And so you make the gains over time by just spending the money up front to get the good things. But yeah, you'd be dumb to go buy, like, even me, I feel stupid having DeWalt, because I use my drill and my I've got a freaking hammer drill, a regular drill, the cutoff saw. I maybe use that shit once a month, maybe. And I'm like, does that make it better than the Ryobis it replaced? Not really, because the Ryobis that I had before, I killed 1 battery pack in the course of like 2 years. Big deal, right? Wow. So, but again, here's the thing. My DeWalt tools I've owned for over 10 years now. It's the old DeWalt 24 volt. Now they're up to like 48 volt or something.
Yeah,
the 24 volt ones, I can still take those tools out of the bag with the batteries never being charged, just sitting in the bag doing nothing for like 2 years at a time. Throw them back on the charger and they charge right up and they hold the charge.
Nice.
So the Ryobis don't. I have a Ryobi tool that like I didn't use for like just 1 year. I didn't use it. I took the battery, put it on the charger, and it faults. Because as soon as it got to 0 volts, it wouldn't take a charge again. I was like, son of a bitch. What a piece of garbage. So so yeah, that's why people pay the extra money for it. So there is a market, obviously, for people to spend a lot of money for a stronger tool, and it only has to be a little bit better. That's the thing too. Like, I've seen people like Porter Cable. You've heard of Porter Cable, right? So they're kind of, their tools look cool. Like they also look cool. They look more futuristic. But Porter Cable is sold by Home Depot. I think it's their high-end brand. So it's like Ryobi's their low-end brand. Porter Cable, I believe, is like their high-end brand. Don't quote me on that. It might be a third-party company, but they sell them. They sell their tools. And the Porter Cables cost more than the DeWalt's. So and they're good. Like I know people that have Porter Cable tools that absolutely love them. And the cool thing is they have a lifetime warranty, just like the Craftsman shit, where it's like you can just walk into Home Depot and be like, give me another Porter Cable after like 3 years, and they'll just hand you one. So that warranty is worthwhile for like the power tools, right? And the batteries have like a 5-year warranty or something. They don't do lifetime on batteries, I don't think. No, they do. That's why Porter Cable is so expensive. Hold on here. Porter Cable lifetime batteries. I want to see if they have the battery warranty that's lifetime. Porter Cable 20 volt. No, they're sold by other people other than Home Depot. So it's not a Home Depot brand, but Home Depot does carry them. I'm not sure if it's Porter Cable, but I know one of the brands has a lifetime warranty on batteries, which means if the battery dies in like 10 years, you can take it in, they'll give you another battery. And if that battery isn't manufactured anymore, they'll just give you the new tool.
Cool.
But you pay for it up front. Like you're basically paying for the tool, whether you get it or not later on. So that's kind of the rub. Yeah. Porter Cable and DeWalt are owned by Stanley Black & Decker. Okay. So Porter Cable then is like the pro version. DeWalt is the consumer version. Porter Cable is the pro version of their tool line.
Okay.
And Ryobi, I don't think has a pro
Black
tool
&
line,
Decker.
right?
That's so weird. You'd think Black & Decker is like, ugh. I don't know. Just saying that out loud is like, ugh. Black & Decker. Ugh.
Oh, Rigid.
They had a Black & Decker coffee pot.
Dude, I've never had anything with a Black & Decker logo that didn't break. Rigid is what I was thinking for the batteries. Yeah.
No, that's a freaking like, dude, my stepdad, his dad used to work for Rigid as like a developer or something. Like he helped them to design tools and stuff.
Yep.
And he still has this ancient I'm pretty sure there's asbestos in the freaking, it's a cloth wiring insulation on the plug for this thing. It's cloth.
Yep.
And I guarantee there's asbestos in this freaking thing. But this is the most scariest drill I've ever used in my entire life, man. I swear to God. And it's heavy. The thing's like made out of freaking cast iron. And as you plug this fucking thing in, 2 prongs on this cloth coated freaking cable, and you go to drill something in, and you see sparks flying and shit inside this thing.
Oh, is it a corded one or a cordless?
Yeah, it's corded, man.
The corded ones with the brushed motors were intimidating.
Yeah. It's outrageous. Like the guy has a garage full of like prototype rigid stuff from like the post-war freaking shit, man. It's freaking insane.
Dude, my grandpa,
guy.
So my grandpa had a corded, like growing up, there was no battery shit, right? Like when we were kids, there was no battery tools at all.
Batteries.
And so I remember my grandpa had this screwdriver. It was not screwdriver, sorry, a drill. He had this drill that looked like some Art Deco thing.
Yeah.
That was like, it was literally like polished. It was all scratched to shit, but like polished metal, and it was like the Art Deco like ray gun shape from you know, what we thought the future was. And it had this cord hanging off it that was cloth. It was a cloth cord, and it didn't have a ground. It was just the two prongs you plugged it in. But as soon as you said that, it reminded me of that drill, because every time you turned on, not only was it so loud, you needed almost hearing protection. It made this like super loud grinding noise, but it would shoot sparks out like those little guns, those little, you know, those little fake guns that you had. Yeah, you turn that thing, it'd be glowing blue and shooting sparks out of the vents, and it did that for 60 years, and my grandpa still used it. And I bet you that's, I bet you it is still somewhere today. I don't know where it is, but I bet you it's being used by somebody today in its original shape without a new cable or nothing. It's just crazy. But no, that thing was scary, because like you had to be careful using it, because if you were around sawdust, like, you know, a spark could come out and light that, right? So I remember my grandpa, because, you know, he was a lumberjack, and we had a bunch of cordage of wood in the shed, and there was, you know, we'd cut it in the shed because it was always raining, and so there'd be just dust everywhere, dry dust all over the place, and he'd always be like, don't use the power tools in the shed or whatever, catch that dust on fire. So we'd go outside and be like, you know, 2 extension cords later, the extension cord's almost melting because the cord is just so gnarly and it's pulling so much power.
Seriously though.
But yeah, like, but now battery tools are catching up with that. Like, because the thing is, you can pull more amperage through a battery, like with modern battery technology, not like the old lead acid shit or nickel cadmium, but like with lithium batteries now. And now you have the introduction of what do they call them, super capacitors. So basically they create a battery pack where it's like 80% of the battery pack is storage for a long time, and then 20% is the super capacitors that charge up and discharge really quick, like as a buffer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So kind of think of them like a capacitor in an air conditioner, where like the air conditioner can take that 5,000 watt startup load without hitting your breaker and then taper down. So
that makes sense.
Those new battery packs, shit, you could put out, you know, I mean, like think of like a Tesla or something, where you're pulling like 400 amps.
Yeah.
There's like your entire service for your house isn't 400 amps. Like you couldn't power the car with the foot to the floor with all the power coming into your house, yet you charge the car with your house. So it's because that battery pack can discharge so much faster than it charges. So now you got these battery tools that are infinitely stronger than the plug-in versions. Like they have this thing called oh God, what is it? It's a drill. It's kind of like a drill, but it's not. It's for removing bolts off of semis.
Impact driver.
That's what it is. Yeah, it's like one of those giant impact guns. And I was watching a video. It might have been Project Farm. That guy tests everything. I swear to God, he does. But I watched a video where they were testing the strength of different drills. And they start out with like these cheap little drills like Black & Decker, and then they work up to this one that's like $10,000. And you hold it like the BFG and Doom, like it's like two overhead handle, like, and you put it on there, and the socket on it is like, you know, this big around, and the wall on it's like this thick, and it's for
hammer drills like that.
It's for taking the nuts off the 18-wheelers to get the wheel off. And I guess those nuts are torqued at like hundreds and hundreds of foot-pounds of force.
Oh, I bet.
So he puts this thing on, and it's like, just pops it off like NASCAR, puts another one back on, and it's like done. And you're like, none of his other drills can do it. So, whoa, what was that? Oh, you did the
$33 from Brandon Bellier.
Oh, damn. Old Ballier Brand. What's up, dude? Thank you for the $33 super chat. Second super chat of the day. We appreciate that. Business. Keeps us going. Sorry, today's show had a little bit of a slow start, but you know, me and Ox, we're getting old and dragging ass a little bit, you know, but we get going. Just takes a little time. You get a little fired up talking about tools and shit. You know, I've got a Cobalt 40-volt weed eater, and it's crazy how good it is. I think that's Cobalt is still a consumer grade tool, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. They're just not designed for continuous use all day, every day. That's literally the difference between a consumer. Like if you ever look at the because most companies make both, or sometimes some will make 3. Like camera equipment is a great example of this. So like camera equipment would be here. I got a good example right here. So this right here would be consumer, right? And you recognize this is the same camera you're using, right, Ox? The AX33?
Oh yes.
So
Yes,
this right
I am.
here, this is consumer. So consumer
Yeah.
grade, you can see the bottoms broke out there with the bolt. All of them did this. The little plastic bracket starts cracking and comes apart. I bet you if you looked at the bottom of yours, it's got cracks in it already. So every one of these fails there. It shoots good video. It has a good sensor. It has good stabilization. But if you drop this from a foot, it's done. If you leave this out in the rain for 5 minutes, it's done. The batteries on it, like they're good for maybe like 3 years if you use it daily, and then they're done. However, now upgrade from this to the camera you're watching me on right now, which is the PWX-Z90V, that costs 4 times as much as this. Now that's a prosumer camera. So that no, it's not even the pro. This is just prosumer. So this is the middle region. And they have Sony has a whole line in there, which is like, okay, better seals. It can hold up underwater if it's raining outside for a period of time. The batteries in it will last longer. If you get the higher quality batteries, it'll run the shit ones too. But everything on it is built to a higher standard. The screen, every component in it is built to a slightly higher standard so you can run it 24/7. It doesn't overheat this thing. If you leave it on 24/7, it starts getting pretty toasty. This thing barely even gets warm to the touch. It's just a better thing. But then you jump up another thing to the professional line. And when you get to the Sony professional line, now the bottom of that starts at like $4,000 or $5,000. That's like the bottom of the professional line, which is like the top of the prosumer. And so in that line, now you've got cameras that are like broadcast cameras with like every interchangeable lens, built-in neutral density filters, you know, and the shit is designed to cycle hundreds of thousands of times, heavily tested. You know, their warranties are way longer. So it just depends on like what your use case is, because it's like, is it really worth? And I found this out the hard way, and the answer is no for me. I bought this PWX-Z90V you're watching me on right now, and you probably admit, I mean, the video looks pretty crispy. I don't know how it looks on your side.
Looks good,
but it's a pretty crispy looking camera. It definitely looks better than the old AX33 I was using, which people already complimented me on and said this one looks fantastic. This one just looks a little bit better. But the thing is, I bought this camera for the YouTube channel. It's harder to use. Professional cameras have more options. So now you got like 15 different picture profiles, HDR, different focus speeds, auto. There's so much shit you have to configure on it. And then when you put it in auto mode, it's a very limited auto. You still have to set most of the, all it does is it'll do like one, it'll do like autofocus, or it'll do, but it won't do auto for everything because it's because that'd be a smack to the face of somebody who bought a professional camera. So I never used this thing. I bought this thing like 5 years ago for like $3 grand, $3,200. And I used it to shoot like 3 videos. Everybody said the videos looked like shit because I couldn't figure out how to like do all the features to make the HDR work right. Yeah. And then all I ended up doing was I even went beyond this. I went back to the RX100. You know, remember that little like pocket camera, the little RX100s?
Yeah.
Almost all of my YouTube. Yeah, you got one probably, right?
I think the Mark III or something.
Yeah, so I shot all my videos on that. Moving forward, because you just put it in green circle and turn on the lights and it makes the picture look as good as possible given any situation. But the problem is you give that to a professional and they're like, oh, to change one setting, you have to go 5 menus deep. Whereas on the professional camera, you have to set everything manually, but there's an independent button on the side for everything. So it's like, if you're a professional that knows what every setting does, then you want this one because to do it with the little camera is damn near impossible and takes like 20 minutes. But the flip side is if you want to just, you know, turn it on, run and done, like you're at a convention or something, you just want to be able to turn it on and know it's got you in focus and shit. It's easier just to use the pocket camera. And the battery doesn't last as long, obviously, so you have to have extra batteries or extra, but you can power it by external USB and stuff. So there is obviously a use case for all these things, but I made the bad decision when I bought this camera right here that you're watching me on now. And the only reason you're watching me on this camera is because I broke every other one, because Sony's consumer shit is shit quality. Like the bottom breaks. If it even drops on a table, it snaps off the HDMI connector off the motherboard and you can't use it for like HDMI capture anymore. They're fucking garbage quality. But the professional line doesn't have that problem because they put like stress reliefs on everything. It's not just that, you know, the connector isn't just held onto the main board. It's actually like epoxied into the frame. So it's the little things that they do that make it better. But this camera right here was like a waste of money. Like I would have been way smarter instead of buying this, just keep using my RX100. And if it broke, you know, 5 times over the next 10 years, just replace it. Because I would have had a better experience myself in the way that I do things.
I think you were telling me, because I don't have it with me. I think you were saying that RX100 has like a better sensor than
it does.
Like I think this one even, right? The FX33?
Yeah, the FX33 has a very small sensor.
it'd look better, like if I was using that little point and shoot than if I was using this handy cam.
100%.
I think that's what you were saying.
No, and even the RX1, you have the Mark III. Even the RX1 kicks the shit out of this. The Mark 1 kicks the shit out of this.
That's crazy.
And the only reason I know this is because if you remember back to the days where I used to do, like, actually put efforts into my live streams and I had like the robotic arms and shit with cameras on them. Yeah. The robotic arm, I ended up putting the RX100 on because it was light enough for the robotic arm to manipulate. Like this was just too heavy for it. And so I put the RX100 on there, and everybody kept commenting when I switched to the robotic arm that my picture looked a lot sharper, and it just looked like a cleaner picture. And they're like, "Why aren't you using that as your primary camera?" And I was like, "Yeah, why am I not using this as my primary camera?" You know, and then I made that my primary camera until it broke, and then when it broke, I made this my primary camera. It's I keep upgrading. Like each time something dies, I go grab the other shit that was too hard to use and like slap it on here and plug a cable into it.
So somebody was asking, thought about a good beginner's pro camera. I haven't tested this myself, but I do think that I'm correct in saying that the Sony ZV-1.
Let me see that one.
It's that one that they put out. I think there's a better one now. It's like the ZV E10, I think now. But it's the one that they deliberately built with the eye for vlogging. It has like a 3.5 millimeter plug for a microphone. The screen swings out from the side so you can see yourself. It has a lot of good video stuff built into it, but it's in the shape of a point and shoot. The first version of it is the ZV-1.
Got it. Okay.
And then I think the newer one is the ZV-E10.
So it looks like you get interchangeable lenses.
I've heard really good things.
So you get interchangeable lenses, which means you can buy an adapter to adapt it to other. If it has interchangeable lenses, you can buy an adapter to adapt it to anything. Yeah, this actually looks cool. It looks like it has a hot shoe instead of a cold shoe. So you could actually run like, a powered flash or something on it. So this looks like it's a step up from like the RX. So like the RX.
It's based on RX.
Okay, so it's like RX plus
tweaked it a bit for vlogging and stuff, for appropriate, like looking at yourself sort of stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, I can tell you, I've used a lot of cameras over the years. Like I started out with, the shitty little, I still have it, my very first flip video HD that I shot my very first YouTube video on. It's like sitting up here. I started with that because that was back before cell phones had good cameras, right? So that was like the shit back in the day. And so I started with that and moved up, but then I went to the biggest jump in quality on my channel. And you can tell if you go back and watch my 2012 video on the room tour, it still looks crispy today. Even today, 1080p, it's like the color saturation, the sharpness, it's amazing. And you're like, well, that was in 2012. Like there was no point and shoot that could touch that. Well, it wasn't a point and shoot. It was a DSLR with like a lockup mirror and a CMOS, a really sensitive CMOS sensor. And at the time, that was a unicorn camera, and Canon didn't even know that, like when they released it. So here, let me regale you with the story of the Canon 5D Mark II. And if you guys don't know the story, it's actually pretty cool. I didn't know this when I bought the camera. So I bought the camera because my son was about to be born, and I wanted to take good pictures of him. And he was in the NICU, and we knew he was going to be in the NICU for months because of the high risk, and my wife was in there for a month. So they can't turn on the lights very bright in the rooms during the day because the kids, are really photosensitive. Yeah. And so I wanted a camera that could shoot images well in this room for memories forever. So I didn't buy this to shoot for YouTube. I bought this specifically as a point and shoot. And so I buy this camera, this 5D Mark II, and I want to say at the time when I bought it, it was about $3,000 for the body. And then I spent another $1,200 or $1,500 on lenses and accessories. And so it was expensive. It was a big investment for me back then. And I bought that camera and I took the most amazing pictures. Like no other camera could touch this thing for low light sensitivity. It made Nikon look like shit. But here's the interesting thing about that camera is everybody started shooting video because it was one of the few DSLRs at the time that shot video. Like properly shot video. Yeah. And because it had the lockup sensor, like the exposure sensor where the sensor just locks up, normally to take a picture, just like a regular camera, it flips up, lets the light on the sensor and then closes down. It's not like the current cameras where it's just always facing into the light and they just basically flip it on, take the picture, and then it doesn't matter. It doesn't saturate like a CMOS sensor does. So, when you shot video with this camera, it had crazy light sensitivity. Like you could shoot in the fucking pitch black with this thing and it didn't look noisy. It just was a perfect 1080p 30 frames per second image. And it was so good, in fact, that if you've watched the movie, if you've watched Avatar, if you've watched I think it's the second or third Jurassic Park movie, basically, if you go back and look at any movies that were made between 2009 or 2010, all the way up till probably 5 years ago, they were all shot with partially on a 5D Mark II. And what they did is they built these $100,000 rigs around the camera body. Wow. Because the sensor was so good. And this is the thing is like Canon kind of shot themselves in the leg because the sensor that was in the 5D Mark II was a better sensor than what was in their $200,000 cinema camera. Jeez. But the cinema camera had all the features they needed, like the crazy lens adapters, and it was built, you know, to put anywhere, and it had all the inputs and outputs and shit to like do autofocus and all the things that they do when they're doing production work. But the 5D Mark II didn't have any of that. So what they did is they built these massively expensive rigs that would, I mean, they look huge. Like you'd look at it looked like a cinema camera. If you've ever seen like cinema cameras, they're ginormous, right? Because they have all the shit built into them to do all this stuff. So these giant cinema cameras, you're like, you look at it closely and you're like, man, that thing looks a little weird. And you notice that it's just a big cage around a 5D Mark II SLR body that has a bunch of cables coming off it going into 100 different components that give it all of the functionality of the cinema camera. And the only thing they're using on the camera is the sensor. Wow. They're not even using the internal cameras, anything. They're just, the sensor is basically raw HDMI out, straight out to like their own recording infrastructure and everything on the camera. And it was crazy to see this because it's like, you know, if you're shooting a movie and you're building like $100,000 rig around a $2,000 camera to shoot your video, you know it's something special. But the problem is everybody caught onto that and everybody started buying them. They were out of stock. The movie industry couldn't get a hold of them anymore. Then the 5D Mark III came out and it wasn't as big of a generational shift. And then they had a cinema camera that they did actually have their best sensor in it. But there was a period of time where this like little DSLR was responsible for shooting some of the crispiest shots from all your favorite movies. Wow. It's crazy. Hey, Robert Settles, thank you for that $20 super chat. We appreciate that enormously, bro. Enormously.
Man. Seriously.
But yeah, no, the 5D Mark II was like this special unicorn camera because it could do that, but it had a huge limitation. And the huge limitation was because it had to hold the sensor up. They're literally like the sensor spring activated just like in a shutter camera. And so when it's holding it up, it's having to use power to hold it against the spring. So when you flip that mirror up, you're running a timer because that motor overheats. The thing that's holding it. So you could only record about 12 to 15 minutes at a go. But for a movie, that's not a big problem because in movies, they rarely shoot scenes that are more than a couple of minutes. Like
that makes sense.
So then you shut the camera down, cool it, fire it up again, go again. Shut the camera down, cool it, fire it up and go again.
It's kind of a weird.
It's very weird. It's very weird. But then later on, somebody created a firmware. I can't for the life of me remember what it was called. Something like Candle or somebody at chat will get it, but they created a firmware, a third-party firmware that you could flash onto the 5T Mark II that would permanently hold the mirror open, but you had to be in an environment that was below a certain temperature. And so it wasn't like a bad temperature, it's like a room temperature, like 70 degrees, right? You just couldn't have it like outside in the sun, and it would hold the sensor up for an hour. And so that's when I started using it for my YouTube video production because, you know, I usually shot longer than 15 minutes, right? So then I just let the camera roll through the whole thing so I didn't have to keep starting and stopping it. And then I put a monitor on it because it had that HDMI out. I could run a monitor to like a little Google Nexus tablet, which actually I still have right here. This is the OG Nexus that I used as my monitor for that thing. And so I could see myself in the camera because it didn't have a flip out screen like vlogging cameras do today. You had to actually put an arm on it, put a Nexus tablet on it, and then have it connect to the camera through the OSD cable or whatever, to HDMI adapter.
Oh geez.
It was a whole thing, but man, did it work good. Like that was out of every camera setup I've ever had. That was like the OG one I wish that I never had sold when I started upgrading to stuff like this, because I actually preferred it. But now the RX 100, since that line came out, that camera does everything I want it to do for anything I do. So if you're looking for a do-it-all camera, Sony, just don't drop it. If you drop it from 6 inches off the ground, it's done. Drop it. It's done. Do not drop it. Because they're
good advice in general, I think.
Yeah, and they're heavy. They're really, I wonder where mine is. Right here. I'm like, wonder where mine is right here. This little guy. This little guy right here. Okay, is this the Mark 7 or is this the Mark 3? Hold on. Yeah, this is the Mark 7. So this one right here will kick the ever-living shit out of this thing and everything except for like the lens reach.
Dang.
So like this one has like more zoom, I believe, on it. But the sensor in this thing is just absolutely freaking gorgeous. If you want to monitor yourself, that flips up over the top of it. It's got all the features accessible with this little wheel right here. It's got a pop-up flash if you need it, if you want to do still photography. I mean, it basically does everything that you need, and the video quality on it, it'll do all the way up to 4K 30, and it'll do 1080 60. And no, actually, no, I think I might do 4K 60 and like 120, do 30. I don't know. I have to go look at the specs. The Mark 7 is like really capable, but you're also going to spend, I think these things are like $1,000. Like they're not cheap. But they have a raw HDMI out right on the side here. They've got an audio out, so you can run it to a separate audio recorder. You can send the live video feed out for like streaming and stuff like that. You can just put this on it. It's amazing. It's absolutely freaking amazing.
Or plug in better microphone, like a proper shotgun mic or something on the front top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. And the old ones you couldn't do that. They added that in later, so you didn't have to use, because you used to have to clap sync. You'd have to set up a separate recorder, and then in the video do the clap sync with the shitty camera or the shitty mic in the camera versus an outside mic. And now you can just run like an audio cable right out of the microphone and does Zoom recorder.
Yeah, that's nice.
So, but yeah, if you got the money, the Sony, as far as the just all around good camera for everything that you would do as a YouTuber, this is like the everything.
Oh yeah.
This will even do short depth of field. I think it's an f2.8 lens. Yeah. So you can do the depth of field effects. Focus to infinity. Light sensitivity is really good. So if you're shooting in low light, this works great. If you're shooting in a ton of light, it looks like a broadcast cinema camera. I mean, it's just so much in a little package. It is built like a brick shit house. It's like all metal. The whole thing is metal. The only
they're pretty robust.
Yeah, if you drop
the
it,
plugs, the plugs. That's what killed the one that I have. The micro USB, the little tab that's inside of it is toast. It won't. I can't plug it in via micro USB anymore. So I have to use a separate battery charger and stuff.
So in my room right now, there are 3 of these.
And the tiny, what is it? It's not mini HDMI. It's like micro HDMI.
It's micro HDMI.
Little bitty mother freaking thing.
Yep.
That sucks.
I actually just bought.
Can you do a comparison between the two cameras? Probably.
Yep. So I just bought 2 more of them. But the micro HDMI cables, they break.
Yeah.
They break really easy. Like here's a tip of one.
Yeah.
If you can see that little focus. Come on, focus. There we go. I also like this camera. This camera has really good focus. Like the autofocus on my other camera sucks. Like I have to sit here and go like this to get it like focus on me in the background. This thing's like intelligent. This thing does like face detection. So if I get further or if I get closer together, it'll like snap focus me, right? Like really quick. Or if I put something up like this where it's blurry, like watch, just give it like a second. Look at that.
Give it.
It just like perfect. And then when I pull away, it'll identify my face and then go whoop, right back. So, I mean, but yeah, these little micro HDMI connectors, if you drop it, you buy cheap cables. Do not buy quality cables if you use this camera with HDMI, because if it falls over and you have a quality cable, it breaks the connector off inside of the camera. You want it cheap.
HDMI is the one that you have to pay a license for. It's a DisplayPort that's royalty free.
Oh, really? I did not know that. Actually, one of the things
that's why you'll have more DisplayPorts on your graphics card than HDMI. You'll have one HDMI.
I always wondered about that.
But so DP took like an extra couple months or a year or something to come out before HDMI. So like it became ubiquitous because of like televisions and stuff. I could be a little wrong on all that, but that has been the story that I've believed. Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully that was the long answer to the question in chat of which camera is the best to buy for vlogging.
I definitely agree that little oh shit, I can't remember now the model, but that little bitty Sony point and shoot is tip top. It's gorgeous. The thing is really good.
RX 100.
Yeah, the RX series is great.
But do you want to know what the thing is though now? Like honestly, I just gave you the answer of like what the best camera is, but you know what the best
like
device is?
$800 fucking camera. That's what kills me. It's like, geez. But it's one of those things. It's like a mattress, right? You're only ever buying one every 10 years, so like it's going to be expensive.
It's kind of dumb. Here's the thing though. It's kind of dumb to buy cameras anymore. And I'm going to tell you why. Because this thing right here will just kick the ever living shit out of anything even remotely in its price range in every category just about.
Yeah, man. For most everything that a normal person is going to do. Yes, absolutely.
Like here's a good example. There's a channel on YouTube called Whistling Diesel. Do you watch him?
I know I've seen a couple of his things. Yeah,
he's the guy that basically just goes and buys like priceless cars and wrecks them into the ground and shit just to piss people off. And his reputation of just pissing everybody off made him like this huge channel.
I watched a whole thing from him. He got robbed or something.
And he went and like found the person that robbed him and like got his shit back.
Neighbor. Yeah. I watched that whole series of videos of him. Like they sprayed his trail camera and then, but it was like too late because they didn't spray it when it came in. They sprayed it like on their way out and they found him. Yeah.
Yeah, he makes so much money off of his channel. He bought a $250,000 brand new Mercedes SUV, like their super fancy one. And then he just did 3 videos of him just trashing it and going off like Dukes of Hazzard jumps, and then ultimately just dropped it out of a crane into a house and destroyed it.
Yeah.
Like, but he makes so much money that a $250,000 vehicle for 3 YouTube videos, and he still came out and profited and was able to pay his crew. So
that's the thing.
But you know what he shoots on? iPhone. Every single if you
I
go to
believe it.
Whistle and Diesel and you watch it, everything except for the cinematic sequences where like every once in a while he'll do a video with an intro that has like a cinematic sequence where he's driving down the road and it's like low cameras on Russian arms and shit like that.
Oh,
but
sure.
no, his main channel, all of the content shot on an iPhone. And what he does is he showed in one of the videos, he shows it. He has a pile of iPhones because what he does is he just gets the highest storage iPhone. He records all the video on it and then he just powers it off and archives it just like an external hard drive. So he just fills up the memory. He doesn't even like reuse it. It's just like once the camera memory's full, then it just goes and gets archived in case he needs the footage again. It'll just be there on the phone. He doesn't have to have all that extra overhead of having to dump the phone, having a NAS and backups and everything. He just has a box full of iPhones. And it's like the most inefficient thing ever. But the reason he does it is because he makes so much fucking money with what he does. The 20 minutes it would take to dump the footage off of the phone is worth less to him than just being able to throw the phone in the pile and just have another one delivered.
Yeah, the transfer rates are outrageous. Lightning sucks for transfer rates. I hear that all the time on people who do exactly that. They'll record a bunch of stuff using their iPhone because it looks great, but it takes like 30 fucking minutes to get the video off because it's a nice 4K HDR 10-bit blah 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 blah, and the Lightning port sucks. Yeah. It doesn't transfer fast enough.
They shoot
You're
raw.
probably better off. You're better off freaking uploading it to your Google Drive almost, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So if you get a program, it's like, I think it's only $10. It's called Filmic Pro.
Yeah.
Filmic Pro gives you full hardware access to the cameras inside of this, like the sensors and everything. And you can actually record in something called like, it's like Apple's RAW format, like Cinema Raw or something like that. ProRes, yeah. ProRes. So ProRes is like lossless video with HDR, like 10 or 12-bit color, basically the shit that you'd get on like, you know, $100,000 cinema camera. You can access on the sensor. Now, granted, it's a small sensor, so you need a fair amount of light. That's the thing.
Sure.
But everywhere, if you're doing stuff in a studio, you're going to have studio lights. If you're outside, you're going to have natural light. These things excel. They absolutely excel in those environments. So the only time that you really need to spend a grip shit of money on a bigger sensor is if you're in a lower light environment. If you control the light in your environment, shit goes down. The cost of shit goes down exponentially. So if you have this, I can tell you right now, if you just have an iPhone in your pocket, you're like, oh, what camera should I get to shoot my videos? No, you should just spend $5 and get a bracket to hold this on a tripod.
Yeah. Honest to goodness, that is.
Dude, this thing has. Have you heard just the microphones? Like people take this for granted, but when you watch a TikTok video or you watch an Instagram video and it's like the person's perfectly legible and it sounds like they're standing right there through your stereo system, that's because the fucking omnidirectional mics. There's like 3 mic packs in this. There's like one facing forward, one facing backwards, and then like an omnidirectional pickup down here near field. Yeah. So you can flip between those in Filmic Pro. You can say use the back camera with the front microphone. You can have it record both microphones simultaneously so that you can actually separate the tracks and be like, oh, when the person on this side of the camera is talking or the person's talking on that side, you can separate them out. And it's just really good shit. I've even seen videos where people like before now these are popular, but he used these little Rode Go microphones.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They're fantastic. I absolutely love them. These are amazing if you shoot conventional video. This, on the other hand, you can actually hook it up to something like that using the OSD cable. So you can just run out to an audio interface and plug it into your lav mic or your so if you want that mic, but people just use the mics in these. Have you seen the videos where people just put it in their front shirt pocket?
Yeah, all the
time.
Like,
oh, hey, how's it going? You're like, they're not using a mic overhead. They're not using, this is just in their pocket recording their audio, and their audio sounds better than like 90% of the videos out there.
Yeah, man. I gotta give heavy credit to Apple on their video. Like their iPhone videos are outrageous. They're so good. Yeah, I see people spend so much money. Not myself. I count myself among the stupid because I've spent so much money on video equipment knowing that this thing's just in my pocket the whole time. It's only in recent years though. Like I would say like probably the iPhone 11 to now has been tremendous with video. And it's all software, by the way. It's all the software. It has nothing to do with their sensors. It has nothing to do with the physical, the lens or the sensor or anything like that. It is 100% their software is outrageously great for their video. It's so good. And it's the same for Samsung and their pictures. I will 100% say Samsung phones take better pictures, and it is all because of the software in them. It's not because it's 108 megapixels. Like I don't know why anybody's tooting horns about megapixels anymore. It's not freaking 2004. Like nobody cares. It's all about the software post-processing that happens. It's amazing.
I'm gonna try something here.
I hate Apple policies with the parent stuff, but just about every company just copy Apple these days. No. No. Apple waits for other companies to do new shit, waits for them to figure out what's wrong with it, and then Apple copies it. That's why you hear the back and forth all the time. Every year Apple announces some new feature for the iPhone, and it's like, bro, I've been playing with that feature on my Note 4 kind of thing. They wait for everybody else to fuck it up, and then they come in and pretend like they're innovating when they just like let everybody else fix it.
Check this out.
Oh, look at that.
So this is me. Oh, actually, you probably hear echo because I got the audio on here. Let me mute the microphone here. Okay, so this. Oh wait, is this still doing it?
Now.
No, there it goes. It's muted. So you guys are seeing this bottom camera right here. This is my iPhone. So compare this. So this is my $3,000 camera. This is my iPhone. So you could just have this sitting on a tripod like over here. And would you really be able to tell that much of a difference if you weren't looking? Like, that's the front facing camera. That's not even the rear. This isn't even the high quality camera. Oh, look at you right here, dude. Look, we got all of our mobile cameras. How cool is that?
There we go.
And
both of those. So,
there's very little lag between me talking and the audio, and you know why that is? I'm using Video Ninja, and it is so fast.
This is terrible. I'm on my Wi-Fi.
Are you?
Hold on. I gotta see. Oh, I'm on my shittier Wi-Fi networking.
I was gonna say you look great here, dude. No. Look at the stream. Don't look at the shitty preview video and video.
Oh, well, okay. I'm still gonna change to my Wi-Fi 6 though instead of the cheesy.
Because you look fantastic here. So let me flip this around. So now this is the rear facing camera. So this is the good camera on the iPhone, right? And you can switch between the different cameras like 2x, 1x. You know, come around here and like look at.
Did broke? Oh, I have to come back.
There's my mixer board.
It didn't like me jump into a new.
And I don't even have to use an app. This is a web page. This is all I did was open up Google Chrome.
Opening Chrome
on my iPhone, and this is broadcasting over my Wi-Fi to Video Ninja, and then coming back into OBS over the internet. And it's still very little lag. I mean, it's noticeable, but it's not like you'd think it was. The processing makes me look beautiful. I know it because
that's the thing. That's
so much software.
That's the trick, right? All right, so let's look here
like side by side. Let's see what it looks like side by side. Here. So I don't know which. Here, you guys vote bottom or top for me. Like, actually, let me bring it a little closer so it's a little bit of a fair comparison. So bottom or top, because this one obviously, and now if I was using Filmic or something, I could turn off this beautification.
Oh, there I am.
But
okay, I was catching up to the stream.
Yeah, so you look amazing, dude.
I do.
Your iPhone looks way better, and there's no audio sync. Zero. I can see your mouth move flawless between the camera that you're using up above and the wireless one.
I have to say the color is more accurate from my phone.
It is.
Like my camera, my nice camera is a little more gray, maybe like a blue, like the color correction's leaning a little blue, where like the phone is correcting it properly.
Let me see if I can get this like pinned here.
Like the phone camera is more accurate for sure. Like that's crazy. This camera, the nice camera, is more gray, and I could do that I could fix it with a LUT in OBS or whatever. It's more of a weird raw image.
Dude, it looks like high dynamic range. Like on your side, the color gamut like is way better than the camera you're using on your computer right now. So this actually proves the point, right? Is you are on an iPhone through a web browser. 10. Or sorry. 10. Oh, what do you want?
The Samsung Note 10.
Oh shit, that's why your camera looks better than mine. I was like, why did you? Because it actually is better. Like your camera right now looks better than mine on the iPhone. It looks more natural. So
yeah, I mean, more like
full
real.
Screen. Let me see what it looks like full
more
screen. More
real, I guess. Like yours is a nice picture.
Yeah, mine is very sharp. Very, very sharp. The color is like, oh yeah, I can see the noise now when I blew it up full screen. Right. So mine is a much lower noise picture.
I wonder too about here. Let's go.
Look at this focus too. The rack focus is so fast on the iPhone, even faster than my $3,000 camera.
So I wonder which back camera this is, because there's 3 back cameras.
That one looks really good.
That's the wide angle. That's the wide angle. You can see the fish, how it's all fishy on the edges, and you're seeing way off to my sides. That's the wide angle front.
Here, let me see here. Can I select the camera?
That'll be the zoom. This looks like the zoom lens.
Oh, they don't even let you select it on this one. On this one, I have to choose front or back. I can't pick which camera.
If you hit the it'll cycle through them if you hit the little swoopy rotator looking button.
Oh, okay. Let me try that.
Video Ninja. It'll just rotate through all your different cameras.
Okay, so that's front camera. It just keeps
we're
saying
back to
front
front.
camera. Let me
Okay,
go,
so
let me go back camera and try
let's
that.
pop in just between two of my rear cameras, the wide angle and the regular.
Yeah, and mine it's not switching. It's just back camera, front camera.
Oh, that's messed up.
Here, let me close it. But
It was
it's just cool that
doing
this is through a
two of mine.
website.
Isn't that nice?
Dude.
Yeah, isn't that neat? That's freaking cool.
Oh wait, did mine stop
Hey,
updating?
what up, nerds?
I don't know. Mine like stopped updating for some reason. Oh, maybe it might just be the network connection. Here, let me set it back down so I'm not blocking it. We'll see. We'll see if it clears up here in a minute. No, what I can't believe is how there's no lag on yours. Like
right?
when
It's
you're
super
moving your
nice.
mouth, it is every bit in sync as your wired connection, and you're going over your Wi-Fi.
Yep.
That's.
I mean, I'm also
nuts.
like 3 feet away from my router.
I don't know why
So much more detail on the phone, and I think that has to do with, I mean, just my own silliness. You know, a lot of it's auto with the phone camera. Like I don't have to think about it. The nice camera gives me a lot more like wiggle room, but I have to actually set that stuff up. I have to do the color correction appropriate. Like I need to fuck with my white balance on my own. I turned off a lot of the auto stuff other than I think just the autofocus, I think, is the only thing that it'll do for me right on its own. The nice camera. They both still look bad. Lots of noise, not super sharp. Yeah, 100%. And that has a lot to do with the fact that we're both on, like, you know, we're taking up bandwidth on our own on our networks and stuff, and blah blah blah. This is
the quality can improve pretty dramatically with a couple settings.
Yeah,
I mean that just looks great.
Yeah, it's really neat.
So there now it focused. Let's see if it flashes focus back.
Webcam needs to be tweaked manually. Yes, exactly. Yeah, where, like I said, the software is taking care of a lot of that.
Yeah, plus the bit rate is really low. Like in OBS Ninja, you can change the bit rate.
Right.
Let me turn off my audio here so it stops echoing. So I think if you go, let's see, audio output settings. No, that's fine. No audio. Oh, it's still doing the echo. Why? I muted it. Mute.
You got to do both the output and the input.
Oh, you do? Okay, hold on here.
Mic and speakers.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, that fixed it.
Don't need red cinema cameras. Again, nah, man, it'd look even worse because I'm not gonna fuss with those settings. I'm not doing that.
Dude, you can see every little piece of spit all over my mixer board.
Oh, you got the Rode thing instead of your old Yamaha.
Yeah, the Yamaha. She got put out to pasture, bro. She's right over here now.
Is that the Podcaster Pro?
Yeah, this is the first one though, not their second version. I don't like the way the second one looks, but it's way better. Like it has better features and stuff. Super cool. Why can't I change? So if I go into, like, here, let me turn around, just point at me. Oh, did I just turn it off? Is it still working? Whoa, I just locked my iPhone and it's still working.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. At least I thought I locked it. Made a noise like I locked it. So you can actually go into the settings because now it doesn't look as sharp as it did earlier. So obviously it's not getting the same level of connection.
Right.
But you can go in and actually like change if you go under advanced settings. Let's see, where is it? Advanced. I want to see if I can increase the transfer rate. There, advanced options. And let's see, where's the bit rate? Record local, remote mode, time creator request file, settings, advanced audio, advanced video, height and width. See, like right now, the video that we're capturing, because we're only showing in small windows, is only 720p. Like we're not even capturing the full 1080.
Oh, yeah, that's a big part of it too. Yeah.
See, like
the video won't capture the full ability of the camera.
Yeah, so I just put it in 1920 by 1080. And then where was the setting I found earlier? Because here it is, customized. There it is. Okay, so now you can go in there. There's pro audio mode. It says this can cause guests to be too quiet or cause feedback issues. But here, let me enable pro audio. And then it says remote monitoring. Invite, let's see, there's so many options here. Oh, 1080 60. So if you want to do 60 frames per second, you can enable that too. I didn't know it wasn't 60 to begin with. So that's kind of cool. Let's see, compatibility mode, hide buttons, virtual backgrounds. No, we don't need that. Enable audio compressor, equalization. These are the things that are just on VDO. These aren't even like things you need on your device. Guests can see HD video. Oh, that's why it looks like shit in the previews. Because it just uses more bandwidth. Low CPU broadcast codec, enable audio compressor, show guest setup tips. There's so much stuff that you can do in here. It's crazy. So here, let me disable it. Here, talk again. I want to see if the audio.
Hello.
Okay,
Hello.
good. It does. It works.
Okay.
It
That's
works. But this is
That
just
did eat up a lot of battery though. Like just being live.
Oh, did it really?
Yeah. Like I went from 30% to like 13. It was fast.
Yeah, this was like way sharper before. I'm trying to figure out why the sharpness went away.
Using the wrong front camera.
Maybe. Here, let me see. Because I mean, it
Those
was
cinemas
like
are better and
super
pretty
sharp.
cheap, only like 30K. Yeah, for the body.
Oh, there we go. Look how sharp the front camera is now. The back camera was that
much
sharp
better
before too. Yeah, but now here, let me lean this over. I mean,
that's so cool.
That's great. Like, and the other night it's like, because I know this, like, but there's something in my head, and this is one thing that really, really blocks people and gets in their way, is like, you don't want to use this stuff because you're like, oh, it's just a phone. Like, I want to use a dedicated camera. And it's like, you don't need to. It's better. Like, you guys would never know.
There's nothing wrong. Yeah, I mean, I've ranted about that too. Like, there's literally no excuse anymore. If you want to do a thing, the barrier to entry for any of it is so outrageously low. There's no excuse.
Like bite me and Chad said, today's Tech Talk sponsored by rare earth elements mined by children.
Ooh.
It's yeah.
I mean,
the sad truth, my friends, the sad truth.
Yeah, and your phone will warm up quite a bit using it
time.
like a webcam and stuff. Yeah, it will. It's just massive data transfer all the time. It's like playing fucking Hearthstone on my phone will warm the shit up.
Here's the thing I don't get. Why
so much data?
So riddle me this, AuxxZillary. Why is the Video Ninja, an HTML5 app running in a web browser, is lower latency and better video quality than the dedicated NDI stream app that's like $20?
I don't know.
Because there's an app I bought. There's like $20 that does an NDI stream. So you open an app, you do an NDI stream, then you install an app on Windows that says, that connects to an NDI stream, makes it a webcam, and then you can bring it into OBS as a direct webcam over the network. It's actually less latency and better image quality going from this camera out to VDO and then all the way back to be composited in the stream. And it actually looks better and it's lower latency. I got to look into that. I want VDO is like magical. If you guys haven't used VDO.Ninja, it's pretty amazing. Like, this just reinforces that. Like, I cannot believe how good this looks for what it is. And the cool thing is it's not just limited to like your iPhone or your Android. You can do it on any device that has a camera and an HTML5 browser.
Mm-hmm.
So like if your TV has a camera built into it, like which some of them do, like just beware. If your TV has a camera built into it, you can actually just go to the little web browser in the TV on a smart TV like LG and enable the camera and have your TV camera composited in.
Handmaid's got the right idea. Smarter programmers, just better programmers.
True.
This is a software issue.
True.
It's either a compression thing or something. It's just software. It's always the software at this point.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I have any other like internet connected devices around here that'll power on that I can add in here.
Yeah, right.
Because it's just cool. Because like, how many people just have old cell phones and shit
Dude,
sitting in a drawer?
Just thinking that same thing. Like, I have a few like old cell phones like that. Yeah, that'd be funny.
And not only that, but a lot of the old phones you could tether the internet connection. Like on the old Android phones, if you plugged them with USB, they'd charge and you would get the internet connection like wired.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. That might be a cool. You could do a cool way of handling this as for like a multicam stream.
Totally.
Have a bunch of cell phones.
Video is pretty bad on all the cameras. I don't know. Well, it might be your internet connection because over here they look great.
I mean, it looks okay to me.
Yeah.
Mine in the YouTube stream, yours look better than me, and I'm streaming at 1080p.
I don't know what bit rate am I transmitting at, because I might not be doing this justice by transmitting at a low bit rate. Let me see, because I've been turning my bit rates down lately.
Video says my upload is 2.5 megabits.
Hold my beer. Watch this. I was only uploading at 4,000 kilobits per second. So now let's see. Okay, 60. Okay,
at
so
720 as well. Like, why is my video settings in video say 720? 1280 by 720.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Oh, could you increase it? Can you? Because I slid mine up to 1920 by 1080.
The settings? It might be because it's using the virtual cam, the OBS virtual cam. But my canvas should still be 1080.
Well,
I always stream out.
Does it look any better now, guys? Because I like upped the bit rate like dramatically. So I don't know if it's actually showing here. Let me see. What does it say? 1080 60 is what YouTube is saying we're streaming at.
Yeah, weird.
God, it looks like shit though. Like I just made the YouTube stream like full screen. It looks like absolutely dookie turds.
Huh.
Why?
I don't know.
Okay, well, We're dropping occasional packets too, so I'm gonna drop her back down to 5,000.
Someone use the phone as a camera by keeping it constantly plugged in. Definitely remove the battery first. Most phones you can't remove the batteries anymore. But
yeah,
sure.
that's true. Like a lot of phones, you can't do that.
If you can, and have your phone still run without the battery plugged in, sure.
Well, here's the other
But
thing:
even
is like
a lot of cameras and stuff won't work that way.
But who cares if it's a replaceable battery, because you can charge it while you're using it. Like I don't know of a single cell phone that you can't plug a USB cable in and charge it while you're using it. So just plug it into a USB battery pack and it'll run for, like, if you got a big one of those big like 20,000 battery pack, because that's what I used to do when I recorded my videos with this. The internal battery in this at full settings with the HDMI, yeah, it's like 30 minutes tops, maybe.
Yeah.
And
I ran into that.
Yeah,
and you get the blank thing or whatever, the little adapter that then you can plug it into the wall. But then instead of that, you use the barrel pin connector to plug it to USB status. And
well, the cool thing about this one is the new one, the Mark 7, charges right over USB. So you don't even need,
if your USB port isn't broken.
Well, that's
my Mark 4 would do that,
true.
Or 3 or whatever. My Mark 3 would do that too. But the freaking USB thing's broken.
That's true, and they all break off. So I'm gonna give that one to you.
Sauce, man.
It totally is.
So bummed.
They're so
yes.
They feel like they're built so. And then did all your plastic things break off too? The little port covers?
No, thankfully those are still there.
Oh, every one I have has lost at least one or two of them.
But they're flimsy too. Yeah.
This is just
battery
wild,
management
though.
system's
Like,
integrated in the SOC, so removing battery is not an option. If you root your phone, you can change the charging rates. Sure. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird little stuff like that.
Like, I'm actually kind of wondering if I could put
referring to the LiPo battery overheating. Yeah, that's certainly a possible. Yeah, I mean, a more modern phone will tell you that it's getting hot though. And then I mean the cameras do that too. Like I remember my RX 100 thing would get warm, being used as a webcam for a long time.
Welcome to Nostril Cam. This costs extra. Get your super chats ready.
That's right. /subcam only. You have to, only the super chatters can have the nostril cam.
This is chin cam. Hi guys, give me those super chats. The job of the hut cam, dude. You gotta admit though, that's pretty damn spectacular.
Just let all of this come down to just the fact that if you ever want to make whatever sort of video content you want, it doesn't have to be face stuff. Like there's plenty of folk who don't want to be on camera. You don't have to be. You can just record your meat fists, whatever, stitching and whatever it is you're doing. Like, whatever, you have it in your pocket, just do it.
So John said he was referring to the LiPo battery overheating. You don't have to worry about it on the iPhone unless you're recording outside where it's like 100 degrees. I've run my iPhone before continuously, both recording and broadcasting through Filmic at the highest rate possible, and the phone gets toasty, but it's never gotten the battery anywhere near where the phone has to shut itself down. It'll
warn you about temperature stuff anyway. Like it's unless it's some old ass phone, like you'll be fine.
Yeah, if it's an old phone, then yeah, you might have to worry about stuff like that. But no, a modern iPhone or a modern Android, they'll actually pop up on the screen and say that they're going into low battery state, or
they'll throttle themselves. They'll tell you, hey, I'm getting too hot, so like some of your features might not work. Like I've done that when I've been just outside. Like my phone will just get hot. Like I come back to the car or something and it's just hot, and it says, hey, by the way.
Yep, yeah, I've had that happen too.
You're okay, but it is something to note. It is something to be mentioned. That is important. And just to know that is a thing. And the other thing too is like on the iPhone, you can zoom in some things, like VDO doesn't let you zoom, but you could crop. Like if you wanted to, you could crop it down, like put it further away or put it closer and mess with the aspect ratios. But if you wanted zoom lenses and stuff, they make all kinds of cases that you can put on the iPhone. Little grabber, just these fucking, it's like a hair clip that just goes boop and attaches to your phone over the normal lens. You get all kinds of cool like fisheye. There's a company that's like super good about it. It's like their whole thing. It's not Mavic, but I don't know why that popped into my head. There's one. It's not Manfrotto. There's one particular company that just does all kinds of cool lenses and shit for iPhones and things.
I have one of the cases, dude. Not to the modern iPhone, but no, there was a company that I worked with like way back in the day that made a whole case that went on the iPhone, and then it had like an adapter on the back where you could slide lenses in.
Moment.
That's
I think they're like the ones that come up all the time. Moment lenses, and they just grab on. Oops, I forgot that's a short cable. They just like grab on. They go boop, and that's that. It's super cool.
I want to change my answer now since I've seen this. Everybody's like, hey, what's the best camera to make a YouTube channel?
Oh, your iPhone.
Your iPhone. Just
Yeah,
iPhone or
or
Android.
whatever phone you got in your pocket.
If it's got a good camera.
And honestly, it's the best because it's easy. It's easy to use and it's right there. Don't spend a lot of money right off the bat when you're just beginning. And this goes for anything, man. Just like create. Just put shit out there.
Yeah, and as long as you were in a somewhat quiet environment, it's like you could put this on a stand 5 feet away. And the auto gain control on the microphones will perfectly pick you up in good fidelity and everything. So you could just have that phone recording and just stand away from it. Or you could have it streamed directly into OBS if you're live streaming like we just did. And it's like plug it into an external battery pack, hit go, and it's just going to, with the internal memory, depending on how big it is, it'll record for hours and hours and hours. So you could just have a phone recording and just walk around, record all your stuff, and then edit it in post. I think that's the way to do it, honestly.
Sure.
I mean, after seeing that demonstration, I mean, I'm even questioning, like, is it even worth like fussing with this anymore? Like, unless I'm doing Zoom photography or I need to like, zoom into something from a long ways away.
B-roll, maybe.
Yeah, I think that the sensors and phones have gotten so good now, and the tools are so good, and the software has gotten so good that it's like the easiest. Now, granted, if you're a creative, right, you're the person that likes to control like every single aspect of the camera, then get Filmic Pro because that'll let you do everything you can on a DSLR with the phone sensors. But that's not really what they're designed for, right? If you're a pro, then yeah, it might be worth it to go buy a $50,000 red cinema camera, right? But
I would love to see the YouTube or TikTok content that you create with your 2003 LG flip phone camera. That would be outrageous.
That would be pretty funny, actually.
Cool as shit. Do it. You won't. You won't. You're not going to upload 640 by 480 videos, or actually it'd be 480 by 640 videos to TikTok. No, you won't.
Oh, Theodorus gave us $2 for the nostril cam. So
all right,
that made me feel like the pretty stripper I am. Thank you, Theodorus. We appreciate it, brother.
Dude, that would be a great TikTok account. That would be great. It's all just like what if TikTok existed in 2004 with the phones and the technology. Grab an old iPhone 3GS, record video with it, and upload that shit to TikTok.
Do you remember awesome. The first iPhone didn't even have a camera app?
Yeah.
Like it had a camera
every
for
app
taking
was
stills,
extra.
but it
every
couldn't
app
take video.
Was extra.
Yeah, I remember you had to buy an app to do video, and it sucked, man.
It was so funny.
My friend came up a couple of years ago, and we were drinking coffee, and she found her old original iPhone that she had.
Yeah.
And we pulled it out, and we opened up the little camera app that luckily she downloaded because there's no way you'd get that thing to connect to the marketplace. And we opened it up, and I could not believe how shitty the video quality looked, but it still was the best of the era.
Yeah.
Like when it came out, like Windows Mobile couldn't even like do video even remotely as good. But it looked so bad. It was like 320 by 200, super speckly. Like you had to have monstrous amounts of light to even like make stuff out. It was bad. But we don't remember it that way because that was like I remember when I got my first iPhone and I felt dirty going into the Apple store because they gave Microsoft employees a 20% discount. So
we use the old Xbox Connect camera for Twitch streaming. Yeah, man, it's great. Add a little bit of film grain filter on it, and it's the best. Best camera is the one you have on you.
Isn't there a filter for it? I swear I saw a filter on either like Snapchat or on Facebook that lets you do like it was like make it look like an old camera. It like lowered the resolution down, made it look pixely and speckly.
Yeah, there's all kinds of filters you can make to make it look like old VHS and stuff for sure.
That would actually be funny though to live stream in 4:3 aspect ratio.
It would be great.
And it looks like shit. Somebody do that, man. I haven't seen anybody do it.
Purposefully put like the CRT like grain to it.
Dude, that'd be so fucking cool. Just manufacture scan lines into it.
And deliberately broadcast in 480p, like standard old school standard def.
That would be
you got
awesome.
A 4:3 stream, and it looks like it's like an infomercial from 1998. I think that's something like Epos Vox would do.
Totally. Totally. And have like the hissy microphone. You remember how all the old VHS cameras, it was like when you watch it, it was like like you never could get rid of it. It could be dead silent in the environment, but you got that weird tape scratch.
It's the line noise, right? This is the magnetic background radiation.
Oh my god, I'm gonna have to find a filter that does that so we can do a tech talk one day like that. And have the thing with like, remember with like the VHS where it would do the thing where it'd slow down and speed up?
Yeah.
So it'd be like, hello today, and it'd like cut out and be like, hello.
Yeah.
Just have it do that randomly through the whole screen.
And just pretend like you came out of a bunker or something, like you've been stuck since 2004, like
it's been
now I'm coming
20
out.
years since the missile strike.
Yeah, I've been coming out of my bomb bunker after Obama got elected a president, and I'm out of here. And now I've come back and like, what? What is? This is the first time I've strum on Twitch. What is Twitch? What the fuck? That'd be so much fun.
Like, what if the
Oh,
Cuban
man.
Missile Crisis went the other way?
Right? Jeez.
Dude,
He
that'd
post
be
possibly
awesome.
sell some effects for stream. Yeah, probably. He'd be the guy who would have some sort of film grain, like retro filter stuff for your streams for sure.
I love his content though. I'm gonna take a moment to fangirl
Smart.
just a little bit.
For sure, dude.
He's good at what he does.
Him and drunk Kev
I haven't seen
probably.
Drunk Kev.
He doesn't do, I don't think he puts out a lot of content, but he's super helpful, super knowledgeable in like getting your streams, your computers like set up appropriately. He works for Power GPU, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, dude, if you're having weird audio or like you're doing a dual PC setup or something and you're having troubles, that guy is tip top.
Oh, dude, Cathode Ray, dude. Do you watch him?
Huh.
Oh, I love him. He's this dude that just does like videos on ancient video broadcast hardware and recording hardware.
Cool.
And like he has all the old cinema cameras and he'll plug them into like, you know, their version of SDI out back in the day into like period recorders and period broadcast equipment, like show how it all works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, really cool channel. Don't tell
cool.
Epos Vox I said this, but like I remember back in the day where I kind of thought he was like kind of a jerk. I thought he was like this like super arrogant jerk when I first came across him. Yeah. And again, don't judge a book by its cover. Like, don't just immediately like see one conversation on social media. I was like, man, but the dude is he is legitimately the go-to guy for streaming. I'd recommend anybody to go to him.
I did find a plugin. It's called Vinyl that'll make your audio sound like an old school vinyl record. Like it'll insert
with the scratches.
You can like pick, like you can be like, oh, the 1920s, 1930s, 1940s, 50s, like what kind of, and you can adjust like the clicks and the artifacts and stuff, and like you can totally give yourself like that like old school radio announcer sort of like listening to a sports broadcast in the 40s kind of sound. It's super cool.
Oh, dude, Epos Vox has the Barry White type voice. No, his voice is like super radio.
Oh yeah.
Thing is, I used to be able to do that with the Yamaha mixer. I haven't figured out how to do that with the Roadcaster. Can I do that with the Roadcaster?
Probably
like just
not.
crank my bass through the roof?
Probably not.
Like here, let me see if I can do this. So if I go in here, go to channels, go to channel 1 for the microphone. I want to go to audio processing, and I want to go to Aphex filter. And okay, so now I can tune harmonics. I can tune drive and mix. Oh, for big bottom. Here we go. Let's see if we can do this. Check. Hey guys.
Oh,
how's it going? Do you like that? Do you like that when I sound all bassy like that? What do you think?
Yeah.
Here, let me turn the mix down to 0. See, look at this here. Let me turn the mix. Oh, yeah. Oh, ladies, how you doing today? This is Barnacules. Go sit on your subwoofer. Daddy gonna make it good. Yeah. Does that sound really deep? Does that sound as deep as I'm hearing it on your end?
Oh, it's definitely deeper. Yeah.
Oh my God, it's like it's hard to listen to. Here, let me do the mix. Let me mix myself back in. Damn it! Here, this is what it sounds like without it. Hold on. There we go. All right, so this is with no filter. This is no filter. This is just straight up NG1. This is what the NG1 sounds like, just fed straight into the thing. And then if I refresh back to default, all right, there we go. So default and then default. There we go. Okay, so that's just the default settings, and I usually just stack, I think, a little bit more bass on top of that. So like right there. That's probably good. That's cool. That's cool. You can do all this shit with the Roadcaster. I haven't messed with any of this stuff. It's got a compressor. It's got the de-esser built into it too. That's enabled.
Yes, sir.
I got a noise. Oh, I got noise gate on here. I think I already do noise gate filter in OBS though, because it does a better job. I don't really like the noise gate though, because the problem with noise gate is if you have a constant background noise, it's like when you talk, like you hear in the background, it's like shh, and then when you stop talking, it goes shh. Yeah, it doesn't sound right. Do all bass, no treble. That was as close as I could do to it. That was like as close as I could do to it. I don't know, microphones, we can do Rodecaster Pro. The cool thing is it has a Rode NT1 setting built into it, so it already has a tune profile for this mic.
That's nice.
And it supports condenser, dynamic. Oh, this supports condenser mics? Or no, sorry, dynamic mics, like the ones that need the cloud lifter. Oh, so this has a cloud lifter built into it. That's cool. So you can use like those really fancy Shure microphones that you see everybody use that don't pick up any background noise.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they're like also like $800 or something like that. That's why I don't have one. But,
Oh, the SMB 7.
yep,
Yeah,
like the
that's
SMB 7
outrageous.
and 8. The reason the reason they use those microphones, when you have a bunch of people sitting close to each other, you
Yeah,
have to have a microphone that's super near field. It's only picking up this person here, and it's not picking up the person a foot that way.
yeah.
And those microphones do a really good job of that because they have an extra they're not powered. Like these are this is a phantom powered microphone. Those ones aren't. You're like you have to put enough vocals into it to move the diaphragm, and then that signal's going to something called a cloud lifter that boosts it up. But because it boosts everything up proportionally,
right.
the stuff in the back.
SM7B.
Oh, it's the SM7.
SM7B. I had the
SM7B,
letters.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it lifts it up without bringing the background noise in. So something like this is designed not just for like singing and vocals, but it's also designed for picking up instruments. So you have to have a quiet environment. So you guys could probably, if I didn't have like the noise gates and shit enabled, you'd be able to hear my air conditioner running in the background constantly.
Oh yeah.
If I had one of those SM7As, I could have the air conditioner running. Somebody could be vacuuming in the other room. You wouldn't hear it. You would just hear me.
Yeah.
Which
Super directional.
Very directional and very near
I mean, that's
field.
like
you
radio
just go, "Hey,
quality though. That's like hardcore, top notch. Like that is a outrageously nice camera or microphone.
You're using the microphone I gave you, right?
Yeah, the AT2050.
Yeah, and I actually gave you the better of the two. I have the AT20. This is my OG AT2020 right here.
Oh,
I still got this thing.
I mean, that's still a good mic though.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
a
Like,
good
listen.
one. That's a good one.
Sorry, plug it. Oh damn it! I don't have any slack in my cable.
Uh-oh.
All right. This is what the AT2020 sounds like.
They're a little quieter. I can hear some buzz in the background.
Yeah, this one's not near field. This one's way
And
near
they're
field.
flat. Like the sound is super flat.
Is it really?
It just sounds dead. Like there's no, like there's I don't know the right vocabulary. Warmth, I guess. Like the everything seems a little muted. Like,
oh, okay. So yeah, so this is like, yeah, I can hear it. It's kind of hollow.
like you're talking at a pillow.
Yeah. So this is what I used for years and years and years was the AT2020 until I got
Again, still nice. Like it's not a bad microphone by any means. Have you done some thorough testing of cheaper mics routed through RTX Voice? No.
RTX Voice is now built into OBS. Did you see that?
I didn't, but I'm not surprised.
So yeah, the new version of OBS that just dropped. I haven't tried it yet, but they said that they actually added that in. If you have an Nvidia card, you can actually enable the noise reduction now.
Straight through there, huh? Like, that's cool.
Where do you do it at?
Probably somewhere in the mixer under like filters.
Oh shit, I gotta get you out of here too. We're keeping you over time, aren't we? All right. Well, we'll fuck with that another day. I think it's funny. We like literally didn't hit on a single topic today.
Nope.
That's how we keep them coming back for more. No, it's fine. It's fine. We will hit that next time though, because evolution of the internet, that's like a topic we can go on an entire show on. Artemis, just quick update. Is Artemis, like, what are they delayed again? Like, what the hell's going on?
I heard something earlier on about liquid hydrogen leak.
Yeah, that was like the first one I thought, and then there was a second cancellation because of another problem, and then I think they're moving it back to the bay to fix it or something. Like they're taking it off the launch pad.
Yeah.
Gosh,
in your guys' opinion, why do you think so accepting of social media, people upload everything like family photo day to beach or breakfast? Could this lead to issues? It has led to issues already.
Yeah,
it's not a could this lead to it. It is causing issues already. Validation.
Yeah.
The dopamine. People it's just an extension of the old keeping up with the Joneses. You know, your neighbor buys a new car, so you buy a new car, or you go on vacation, and so they go on vacation. It's an extension of our desire and need to feel seen and important.
Yeah. Plus I'd say a big part of it is ignorance is bliss. Like when you upload your pictures, you're like, oh, I'm uploading these where my friends see them and I control them. And it's like, you know, showing them when they come over to my house and they don't realize what their stuff is really being used for because the technology is in its infancy and they don't know about it. Because if everybody knew that, like if the first time I installed like Facebook back in the day and I uploaded a picture of my profile, I'm like, oh, anybody on the internet can just come and like download this. And then there's algorithms that could like mine this data and then make me findable by the actual image and stuff. I wouldn't have done any of that shit. Like now I'm already out there. The cat's out of the bag, so I don't really care. But
I think too, we got we got used to doing it before they really started doing nefarious stuff with it. It was just like a neat thing, like, oh, hey, I mean, which happens a lot, you know, like, hey, we slam atoms together and it makes a lot of energy. That's really fucking rad.
Yeah.
And then somebody turned around and said, hey, you know what's really cool? When it explodes and it fucking burns everybody down. Like, it's a similar sort of thing. Like, we constantly jump into these newfound areas, and we oh man, I made this cool thing without really, and it's impossible really to know where people will take it and what they'll do with the thing, because like, oh, hey Jim Bob, I made a sharpened stick, look man, it's really cool, I can poke at the anthill and not like die. And the next thing you know, Jim Bob stabs him in the back with the pointy stick and he's like, hey, look at that, I found a new way of doing this shit. So like, it's like we have a tendency to create new things without the ability, or because a lot of times it's like they do try to think of what can I do with this new thing, and it's once it's released to public, then people start doing other shit with it that they didn't think about.
I'd have to believe that most of the companies though knew that they were going to do nefarious shit with it, but they just
almost
never
certainly
advertised it.
Not at first. Really? I don't think so at first. There were probably some people who were like, hey man, like people are uploading a bunch of pictures and stuff to this thing. Well, that's what we built the app to do. Like, no shit, buddy. Well, yeah, but you know, we could be using this for something else. Like, look at their, that kind of thing. The
good examples like CAPTCHA too. CAPTCHA was another thing where it's like, oh, you have to prove you're human in the computer, but what you really did is just did a bunch of free work for Google, and they used it to sell you a product.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. So it's like any other tool, cars, right? Anything you can point to any innovation that human beings have made, and it generally has started out as something benevolent. You know, people movers, we'll build cars to move faster, to move more stuff quicker. And now people are, and then of course that led to tanks, that led to fucking, you know, bombs and
like the Wright brothers think that their legacy was going to be dropping the world's largest bomb ever exploded on like Hiroshima and Nagasaki. No way. Like they didn't think about that. They were like, oh, it's cool to fly like the birds. This is a dream. And then the next people are like, well, what if we made it out of metal? What if we gave it more power? What if we made better fuels? And then you got Einstein coming along being like, man, clean power would be awesome, wouldn't it? And then the military is like, oh man, but if it melts down, it does bad things. Cooler? So let's make it melt down, you know? Yeah. No, unfortunately, that's addictive. A problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, there's that part of it too. But again, that ties back to that social need of like validation and feeling important and, hey, look at me.
We need education to get better. I think that's at the end of the day, people don't know what they're doing, like, because there's a lack of education that's in the scope of where they'll see it, because a lot of people are looking for it. It needs to be like more present, like, and that's where legislation comes in, where it's like the social media network needs to disclose to you, just like GDPR or whatever. It's like, know what your data is doing. This is what we're going to do with it, or we refuse to do it.
No, it's not going to make any difference. Just like the GDPR thing. It's like, I don't give a fuck that the website is absorbing my cookies. I know. They've been doing it since 1995. I know. But
most people don't even know what a cookie is, though. That's my point. If they knew what a cookie is, they could make the decision.
But they don't care. No, they don't.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Just click accept all cookies, and they don't care.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. Hopefully it's a quick question, because I don't want to keep it too long. But if I told you right now that every single picture that you've ever taken of your penis to send it to a loved one or whatever, to be like, hey, check out my big old wiener here, lady. If that was available to everybody at some point, would you have done it that way, or would you have found a more secure way to send it?
Yeah. Okay. I see your point there.
Where I'm going with that, because here's where this is the one that scares me. This is the holy grail of fear when I'm watching all this AI shit and the neural networks and stuff. Microsoft has the Watson database, or the Windows Error Reporting database. Every program that has ever crashed on your computer since Windows XP, if you've had a fucking internet connection, that dump file, that mini dump file that contains all the stack traces, the data that are in the locals and the globals, is stored in a Microsoft database. Yeah. So that database has never had any data deleted out of it, because they want to keep that data forever to go back and reference it and do analytics against it. What happens now, the limiting factor is there's not enough humans. There's so many crashes coming in the database, they could employ half the world and they wouldn't be able to get through everything, because there's just so much data in there. However, with a neural network, you could say, go through all of those dump files, pull out every single global, every single local, run an encoding check over it to see, is it a JPEG? Is it a video? Is it MP4? Is it this? Is it this? And then reconstitute those all in the files, put them in a folder, and then have another AI go through them and do pattern matching to figure out who's the person in the picture? What's the person in the picture doing? You know, you could do all that. And then your dump files in that database could become the world's largest forensic database on every single person that's ever used a Windows PC. Like, that shit kind of scares me, right? And most people don't even know that when a program crashes, their shit's going up to Microsoft. If Microsoft's program crashes, if the viewer, it doesn't even tell you. It just does it in the background without even notifying you if it's a Microsoft signed binary. So shit like that kind of scares me, because it's the same thing with like social media. It's like when you sign up, it's like, oh, I only want to show it says right there, it's like, I only want to show my photos to friends and family.
Right.
But that's not going to be the case. It's in a database. Somebody could still hack that database. But nobody really thinks about that. Like in the beginning, you don't think of that. You're like, oh, well, they said only my friends can see it. I don't understand how the technology works. But now that you understand how Watson works, would you have so freely, willy-nilly with your computer connected to the internet still be taking those pictures and opening them at the risk that that program might crash without you knowing it, and upload that data to a database that could never be removed?
Yeah, but in that instance, though, it's the security through obscurity, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds of another actual human being like taking all of that and actually looking at it?
Very small.
And then sharing it, or like doing something detrimental. Even high profile people who you would think where like someone whose job is to dig through that. It's like when there was all that big hoopla about when people found out that there was actual human beings like occasionally hearing their like smart home speaker requests.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I remember that. Or the baby monitors.
Like, the guy,
stuff.
like, yeah, some employee accidentally emailed somebody the wrong files, and it was like somebody else's house and stuff. And then it was like, oh, what really are the odds? There's so much data that what are the odds that there's really anybody out there who's going to see the thing and then like share it in a way that is like detrimental to your life?
This is where the fear comes in on my part, though, is the forensics. So normally there's such an orgy of data, it's a needle in a haystack. Like the odds of you have a better chance of winning the lottery than somebody finding your wiener pic and like putting it on the internet if they found it in that database. However, now you bring in neural networks, and all it takes is one employee at that company going rogue and putting a picture of you in the system and say, go through the entire database of every single dump file and find a picture of this guy in another picture or in a video or referenced or described, whatever, through the neural network, go through and pull that data out. And now you have a way to index that data and look for stuff you couldn't index before.
Right.
And then the police are like, hey, we're watching this guy over here who pirated a movie. We want to figure out what movies he pirated. So, hey, Microsoft, here's a subpoena to use your neural network to go through the database and find every single instance where the usage patterns, how he moved the mouse, how long their arm was dependent on how fast they moved the mouse and the acceleration and everything, and gather all those forensics to be like, I am reasonably certain that was the person who was sitting in front of that computer. The program crashes, the webcam records the image, that's stuck in a variable. So now they have a picture of you. They have the forensics showing that the way you typed and your typing speed and your strong fingers versus your weak fingers and how you move the mouse, all that shit could be indexed to the point where it's like they just type in some basic information and it goes and finds it. Whereas now that doesn't happen. There's so much data, you couldn't do that. You would have to manually go flip through shit and have inference, and it would take forever, right? If ever, you would never find anything. But once you have the neural network that can do it, that changes everything.
Yeah.
So crazy shit. Something for you guys to think about. Just think about it. It's like everything that can be used for good can also be used for bad. And always assume that if you upload something, it doesn't matter how encrypted it is. It doesn't matter where you put it. That is vulnerable data, and just accept that. Like, I think is the best way to end it.
Yeah.
You guys have been awesome. Thank you for hanging out this week on Tech Talk. Sorry, we had some we had some technical problems there in the beginning, but at least we went a little bit late today so that we could get in the
issues.
The 3 hours. We will figure it out. We will absolutely figure it out next time, or the time after that, or the time after that. But if you guys want to come and talk to us after the stream, you got extra questions on what we asked, whatever, go over to Twitter at Barnacules and at AuxxZillary. David Hewlett was also in the chat. You can go hit him up over there, and also check him out, Tech Banditry. All of the links are in the video description as usual. All of it. So go look at it. And please hit a like button on the way out, because the algorithm or whatever, you got to like make it seem like you actually enjoy what you're doing.
Come on, you guys.
Hit the button.
Share the stuff. Tell your mom.
Pretty please. That's all I can say.
Bridge Club, please.
All right. Well, my back's killing me, so I'm going to go take a load off. All right. Catch you guys later. We'll see you next week. Peace out.